Yes, you did. What's happening, weirdos? This is an incredible chat with the charming and delightful and hilarious Jon Heder, who so many of us, like me, know from Napoleon Dynamite. Also, shout out to my new friend, Michael Rosenbaum, who put us in touch. He has a great podcast as well that you should check out that I'll be on very soon as well. So this is how I got in touch with Jon, our first Latter-day Saint guest. I was very excited to talk, or as they're, known on the streets, Mormons. Very excited to talk to him and some really interesting stuff about his career as well. So let's get to it as quickly as possible. If you're listening to this at any point in any time, I do a monthly show at Largo. Go to largo-la.com for tickets. Always, always, always amazing. The last one had Dimitri Martin. I'm blanking. Oh, Michael Gungor and Sean Watkins did music. It was really one of the most incredible shows. I'm just blanking on who else was there because I'm very deeply tired. Beth Stelling. God, now I'm only forgetting one person. I'm having a panic attack. But anyway, come see me at Largo once a month, largo-la.com for tickets. And check out, if you like this show and you want to support it, try a Pete's Pick like our friends at Everlane. I'm wearing my Everlane jacket. Deal with that. It's my favorite jacket. And you know what else I love about Everlane is they are a company of integrity and have wonderful values. And values should guide the decisions you make throughout your life, because when you stick to what's important to your very core, it shows in everything you do, and Everlane is certainly no exception to that. Everlane is committed to doing the right thing from start to finish. That means partnering with responsible factories and ensuring every piece of clothing looks and feels great for years to come. This jacket, I have it in blue denim, I have it in black, I have their sweaters. These are not only some of the most ethically made clothes that I own, but they are the best looking and the best feeling and the longest lasting. They have a dedication to finding socially responsible factories through third-party audits with certified partners. They design timeless clothing with quality materials and a focus on durability and longevity, and they have transparency in production costs for every item. That means on their site, you'll see what it costs to make, which is really the only place I've ever seen that. They are trend-proof with quality made to last. That means say goodbye to unsustainable fast fashion. Everlane designs timeless closet staples made with high-quality materials that you can wear over and over again. And frankly, that's what I love the most about them. They are nothing they make is boring, but nothing they make is something like MC Hammer pants that you can only wear one summer in 1993. Every garment is made from the finest material like grade A cashmere, Italian leather, and certified organic cotton. And Everlane strives to use the best materials with the least impact on the planet, so they prioritize sourcing raw materials from transparent, recycled, organic, and renewable sources. So you can look good and feel good about looking good. If you want to do things differently, from your core to your closet, shop Everlane. Go to everlane.com/weird and sign up for 10% off your first order. That's 10% off your first order when you go to everlane.com/weird and sign up. Everlane, helping people live their best lives with the least impact on the planet. We are also brought to us by our friends. Where is it? Where is it? Where did it go? There it is. This is another Pete's Pick that has been blowing me away. I used my own promo code to subscribe the first time I tried it because it was incredibly high quality and wonderful CBD. I know there are a lot of CBDs. I know there are a lot of CBD ads on podcasts, but Feels is a premium CBD that will help keep your head clear and feel your best. It's hassle-free and delivered directly to your door. I love it. As someone who suffers from, obviously, occasional pain, nervousness, anxiety, and sleeplessness, but doesn't want to have harmful side effects and wants something natural and not pharmaceutical, CBD is a wonderful alternative. It naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. There's no hangover or addiction. I love that it keeps my head absolutely clear, and I never feel like I need to take it. I always feel in control. And all you have to do is place a few drops of Feels under your tongue, and you feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that it's finding your right dose that's important, and everyone's dose is different. What Feels actually has is a little flight, and I got to try 3 different kinds and dialed in exactly the right dose. Or if you're in need of a dose of chill on the go, pop in one of Feels' new CBD-infused mints for a clear-headed feeling and bonus fresh breath. In fact, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help guide you and guide your personal experience so that you find the perfect dose. The Feels customer service team is dedicated to making sure you get the best use of your CBD. Joining the Feels monthly membership makes your self-care so easy. You'll save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel anytime. I will attest to that. The subscription discount is enormous. So start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to Feels, FEALS.com/weirdo, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/weirdo to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. That's feels.com/weirdo. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoy Jon Heder. It was such a treat for me. I hope you like it 1/10 as much as I did, and then you'll still poop your pants. Get into it. Here you are. You can wear these or not. Also, I tell this to everybody, get your feet up here. Look how dirty it is. It's totally fine.
I don't mind. Like, I might.
Bear?
Should I?
Bear? Let's get
you out. Oh, here you go. Now everybody knows it's a Velcro.
It's like
It's one of two. It's either a Teva, or
ooh,
I
a
think
Cheva.
Tevas, right?
Artiva Teva?
I just heard Tevas are pronounced Teva.
These are
I was
the
like,
GIF,
I'm sticking
GIF
with
people.
Teva.
These are the GIF. That's how to do it, man. You
GIF,
just
GIF.
did it. It's supposed to be like a sleepover.
Yeah.
We're just two bros.
Yeah.
On a couch.
Please tell me you've had problems with people still, like, they sit and they're like,
Get rid of We've had that a lot. I wouldn't
we're
say
doing a bunch
lot,
of visual stuff already for a podcast.
but we got these cams.
Oh, yeah.
Those will be for Clippies and for YouTubies. That's how kids listen to podcasts these days. Did you know?
I didn't know kids listen to podcasts.
I don't know if they
That's
do
a
either, but
revelation already.
they're clicking. They're watching at least the first 30, whatever counts as a view. I can't call
I
it.
guess what ads or who your sponsors are.
Yeah, well, Liquid Death. Oh shit, my Liquid Death spilled. Katie. No, I'm just kidding. It was me. I just wanted someone to blame. Purely and truly. Do you want an LD? There's a sponsor.
LD.
There's a sponsor.
I never heard of these until I saw, and we'll get into Jamie drinking one.
Jamie Lee.
Yeah.
My dear friend.
And I was like, what is this? And it's like, it's just water.
You-
And then why are they lying and telling us this is like caffeinated? I'm like,
I'm
we
boom
started.
micing it.
He's
We
like,
can start if you want.
this is all good.
Wait,
just a second.
No, let's get it. Let's get it.
That was pretty good.
Over it. That was very good.
Oh, I
Wow.
always forget that's like,
There's a...
and then I put it
Buddy,
down with
I'm not forcing it. I think these would be pretty big in the LDS commune. Like, because it's
makes
not a
you
big
look-
booze.
it
I'm
makes you
sober,
look
so
like
I like
kinda
drinking.
cool.
Yes.
and it makes you look like you're pounding like
A huge 16. Is it
yeah,
16?
like a-
16.9?
60, and it's, but it looks like it's an energy, like a hardcore energy drink, right?
Yeah,
Or
with malt
booze.
liquor in it.
With
It looks like a
malt.
Four Loko.
Yeah, you throw gold in there and just like. I'm sorry. Now I'm making. I keep forgetting I gotta hold.
You
this.
don't know. We got you. You can hold it at a middle distance.
But I was like, why? What's with the? What do you call this kind of font? It's that like
Old English.
It's Old English,
Which is
that-
funny. It's the oldest. It's funny that that's a badass font because the people that wrote that with big, thick feather pens were like
Yeah.
dainty Dobbinses.
It wouldn't go well with LDS, by the way.
Why?
Murder your thirst. We don't murder. Unlike
Sure you-
the other religions. Jeez. What do you take us for? Come on.
I'm sorry,
I
but
will
this
not-
is another testament of Jesus Christ, and a lot of people have murdered in the name of that first book.
Wow. Okay, let's get into it.
No. I was raised evangelical, so I'm throwing down my
yes.
people, saying the Crusades. I know that was Catholicism, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
There's been bloodshed, but we're a new group, and we're a peace-loving G's.
I'm all into it. It's just you open it up and you feel like we are still doing the commercial. And I'm like, well, you think you're about to drink something tart and explosive.
That's going to keep you awake.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a water group that figured out that gold is available for all the people, all the beverages.
But what is the catch? Is it because it's straight from the Alps?
It is good water. I'm a water snob. And aluminum, it's like something preposterous. It's like 90% of all aluminum is still in use. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So plastic bottles, this does
did not
just
know
sound
that.
like an ad. drink from aluminum when you can instead of plastic.
Instead of plastic, okay.
I mean, it still
Or you
takes
just
energy.
use the same. I almost brought in my
Reusing?
regular water bottle, but
Okay. I do want you to say up top, I did not intend to bring up the Church of Latter-day Saints.
No.
This quickly.
but
I want to
knew it
say
was
this
gonna happen.
up. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we have people from the lesser represented faiths on
Yes.
this podcast, and I always want to say this is the safest place.
Yeah.
You are in a friendly zone. We're not even going to get into it, but when it comes up,
Yeah.
I just want you to know you can edit things out, and it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a gotcha podcast. It's not
No,
like,
no.
And I'm also not an idiot. I've been to Provo. I've been to Salt Lake.
And anywhere in between Provo and Salt Lake, I feel like you really, as soon as you get into American Fork or Pleasant Grove,
Ooh.
then that's
You've
when you're in the
out-Utah'd me,
heart.
my friend.
You're in the heart. Salt Lake doesn't almost count anymore. And I'm talking like I know. I don't know. I don't live
Go
there.
ahead
I
and
don't-
represent it.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I can represent Salt Lake. Provo, there's still a lot of my heart left behind in Provo.
You left your heart in Provo?
Yes, left my heart.
Why? Why?
Because I went to school there.
Oh, that's why Brigham.
I love.
Brigham Young.
Yeah, I loved my time.
It's a great town. The mountains.
I mean,
there's a lot of majesty.
I'm
not even saying-
those words. I think are in there. The world is our campus and our majesty, or something like that. Almost.
Well, when
Did I
you
cut
go to
out
Utah,
there?
you do. I think you turned me down a little. Can you turn me back up, Katie? Because I'm a narcissist. I'm just kidding.
I don't care. I just want to make sure I heard me and then I didn't hear me. This guy's raspberrying all over the place. Oh,
You're
that
getting
might have been me.
my coveted raspberry laughs.
Yeah.
Was it you?
It might have been. I don't know.
I'm gonna say, whenever I've been in Provo, I look at the mountains and I go like, of course you felt revelation here. You know what I mean? It feels like a very clean, like the frequency to the divine feels
it's
clean to
interesting
me.
you say that because they're also known for having the worst air quality index
Really?
around. Yeah, like they're trying to pass all sorts of bills to clean up the air, especially up in like Salt Lake area. That's what I hear, and I'm like, that's interesting because I'm
To
already
me-
not a fan of the air. That's the one thing I really don't miss at all because
Because of the altitude or because of the
I think because the
pollution?
altitude. Well, no, it's super dry. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
yeah.
used chapstick in my life, and then I've
No, you-
always carried one around.
You go to you go to Denver. Suddenly you're
Oh, yeah,
breaking
yeah.
out that
Yeah,
chapstick.
yeah.
It's a
Well,
non-negotiable.
then I started realizing, oh yeah, just out here in the mountains, like you need that chapstick. You need that chappy chap.
Is chapstick featured in Napoleon Dynamite? Also,
Yes, it
something I
is.
wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
Give me your chapstick,
Yeah, it's
or give me your tots. Sorry,
well, there's give me your tots, which another guy says.
buddy. I was like ready to not even bring it up, and then you were
But
like,
you knew it
"No,
was
give
gonna
me-"
come up.
I know, but I like. Look, hopefully Daniel Radcliffe's going to do it. I'm going for a Harry Potter free.
I don't see
and
how
I'm going
like
for a
but
Napoleon
Daniel has
Dynamite
like
free.
a pedigree sense, and I don't know.
I mean,
No, no.
I'm with you because he has a pretty cool
Yeah,
career.
he's done a lot of very
He's done
different,
a lot of different things. So have you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And JS, not just saying, made it up just now.
NJS, I'm kind of a BD. Big deal.
Yes, I
That's,
got it.
Yeah.
Unless it was the other one, but that's not.
Big dump?
Let's just say Richard.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay,
not. Can I tell you? This
Yeah.
is what I was going to tell you. The first club I headlined in my whole career was called Fat, Dumb, and Happy's. And the guy who ran it, I believe his name was Michael B., was a Latter-day Saint, I was going to say Mormon, but a Latter-day Saint movie star. He made Latter-day Saint movies. You might even know who he is.
Michael B.
Michael B.
Like last
Blonde
name
hair.
B?
He looks like Jack Black, kind of, if he was wearing, I know, last name
I
B.
think I might know who you're
with
talking
very
about. Might.
white blonde hair.
It's a strong might.
It's a strong might. And I'm pretty sure when I was there, and this would have been 20 years ago, but people were like, yeah, Jon Heder might do it. Like they were throwing your name around and all this stuff. But they had movies called like Mormon Family Night and
Yeah.
Mormon Game Night, excuse me.
Yeah.
But they were like
I don't no Family Home Evening.
Family Home Evening.
Is that what you're referring to, or are you talking about the movie?
Oh, okay. Family Home Evening is a real thing.
That's a real
It's a
thing. but
principle. But I think it's called Mormon Game Night. I'm not sure. I should have researched this ahead of time.
I don't know.
But anyway, I met a Latter-day Saint movie star, and that was one of the first people I worked for. And he really,
Michael B.
He told me a lot of strange things that I do not think are indicative of the entire faith. But he would tell me, like, about his mission and stuff.
Yeah.
Like finding people that were speaking in tongues and carving in their arm and stuff. Interesting.
Oh my gosh, I want to see that.
Yeah, it was very, well,
Yeah.
you like horror. It was very horror-y, but it scared the crap out of me because I was very religious at the time, and I'm still spiritual, but I was very religious at the time, and he's telling me these scary stories about like demons and stuff. And, and I remember being in my hotel and being like, they're coming. they're coming for me tonight.
What's still the scariest stuff for me? Like,
of course.
and,
For me too.
You know, and I think part of that is my religious background, but like on the mission, I think
Where was your mission?
In Japan.
Japan?
Nihon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wait, 18-year-old Jon Heder.
19.
19, forgive me, 18
That's
would be
okay.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, 18 is now.
18 is now.
Now they let them go.
Because of
18.
modern revelation?
Well,
Change it to 18.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly all the reasons why, but I think it's just like get them out sooner. Like, no more of this freshman year, then go on a mission. Because that's what I did a freshman year at BYU first, then I went on a mission. But
Tell me
I don't see it.
everything. Let's start with your mission.
man.
Don't jump just to the meat of it. Tell me.
No, I know, yeah.
You got assigned Japan.
I was assigned to, so yeah, we put in our papers and I'm going to say we a lot because I have a twin brother.
Did you go on your mission with him?
Well, at the same time, but we were assigned to different missions.
Okay, that would be nice.
Yeah, but it was pretty still miraculous that like we were called to the same country and we were both.
He went to Japan too?
He went to Japan too.
Whoa.
And when we got the call, that's what we call it. We get the call.
Yeah.
And normally it's like this big, it's kind of like a cultural event when you get your call and you gather your friends and family around. Now they do everything on Zoom and they like live stream everything.
Whoa.
But
Yeah.
you normally have everybody, but we had turned it in and we were still at BYU when the papers came into my folks back at home. I grew up in Oregon, so this is a reference. And so my mom was like, well, you got the calls. We were so excited. We were like 1 or 2 days before we came back home. She's like, I'm just opening it now. I was like, no. I was like, fine. It didn't make any difference. So she's reading to us and she, then when they get to the part, like, you have been assigned to serve in the Tokyo. I heard mine, Tokyo, right away. I was like, Japan.
Wow.
I know that. And his was Nagoya. I was like, I don't know Nagoya. But he was just as like, this is
Japan.
We were over the moon.
I don't want to put down other countries, but I mean, this is what the musical Book of Mormon is about. I did a mission in Uganda, not a full mission. I went, that's generous. I went on a 3-week mission
I was going to
trip.
give you 2 months, but 3 weeks.
3
That's
weeks.
Still great.
It's not even the same, but the LDS more missionary system is,
Yeah.
it's the Cadillac of missionary systems. I mean, it is.
yeah,
When
and-
I was in Uganda, I would see Latter-day Saints everywhere.
You're like, there goes the real deal. Hey, you guys. And they're like, you want to know more? You're like, oh, just ease up. Ease up.
Take a few steps back. Indugu. Wait, Mzungu? That means white
Mzungu.
person.
Oh, why?
That's what
it's
they would call us.
gaijin in Japan.
See?
But I think
this
a lot
is
of people know
something
that.
only missionaries get thrown at.
Yeah.
Mzungu. And you got Gaiji.
Gaijin, yeah.
And did people call you Gaijin on your mission?
Sometimes, or they just like baka, like, which is stupid idiot.
Oh.
No,
rough.
normally they thought we were pretty cool.
Yes.
Like, oh, sugoi gaijin da yo. And like,
Okay.
sigata kai. Like, you're super tall.
Yes. Well, you're a
all
lean
that.
bean.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were excited. What I was going to say was the whole
Yes.
plot of the Book of Mormon is they get sent to Uganda.
Yes.
So you get sent anywhere in the world.
You can.
And you're 18 or you're 19,
Yeah.
about to be 19. You have to admit there's a human element of like, you're going to one of the coolest cities in the world.
Well, for me, so you don't know where you're going. You put it, and when you apply, they want to know if you studied any languages. But it doesn't always mean. My younger brother studied German. He went to Germany for like a study abroad, whatever, and he got called to Korea. So it's sometimes like you have no idea. But
that is such a funny way to hack your mission.
yeah.
Is to like study
You think you
French
can,
and hope
yes.
you go to like French Polynesia.
So I think they like take, but my brother needed this because otherwise he would have been like, of course, Germany. Like he's such a pompous.
Hilarious. Yeah, he was humbled.
Yeah.
They brought him a little humble.
And we had studied Japanese in high school.
Okay.
So I knew there was a chance, but I will tell you this. I was like, look, I'll go over wherever the Lord wants me to go, and I will, serve the best I can. But please, I do not want stateside. Stateside is when you go somewhere in the States. And I wanted so badly. My father and my older brother, they served in Chile and El Salvador. They all joined the Brown Spot Club, which
What's
was
that?
like, oh, that's you for sure. If you go south the border, you will crap your pants. You will get so sick at some point.
And get a brown spot.
Oh, yeah. Either uncontrolled or just like a little bit,
Yeah.
but no
From
matter what,
Shart,
you will soil yourself.
The 0 on the scale is Shart.
My
you
brother,
are Shart on the way
It's
in.
not even Shart. Yeah, it's just it's dribbling at that point.
A dribble.
A
Shart's
dribble.
a 3. Let's be
yeah,
real.
Shart
Shart's
has
a-
like combustion kind of
Shart had
involved.
propellant.
This just comes out and you don't even know. And you're like, crap.
It's like your car is
Literally.
leaking.
Yes.
But it was you.
Yeah.
And it's not oil. It's poo-poo. And that rhymed. And here we are. So you didn't want to go stateside because here's your father and your older brother both went to cool places.
I wanted to learn another language. I wanted to go.
Dude, I met people at the temple in Salt Lake City, and I think they were on their mission. I'm like,
Oh, yeah. People serve there.
you're on a mission in Salt Lake City?
Yes. And
Like,
that's almost
what?
one that you're like, oh, no, but
It's
they
like being
get so
4A
money.
in Vietnam. Like you don't get to, you're not going. Like
Yeah.
like Captain America wanted to go fight, and it's like you can't go. You're
Yeah,
4A.
yeah.
Those are the 4A missionaries.
Yes, those are the ones that
wow.
fight the most, and then they get sent there. But then everybody comes home saying, "Oh, it was the best."
Of course.
I'm so happy. My youngest brother went to Arizona. He's the only one in the family who went stateside.
Oh no.
And we were all, like, kind of. And yet we were like, supportive. And of course, he said he loved
Still
it.
had a great time.
That said, he was like, I never need to go to Arizona ever. Oh, he went to Arizona. He was like, never need to go to Arizona again. I'm never going to eat another brownie for the rest of my life. He ate so many brownies.
It's
there.
a
I don't
brownie
know.
town?
I don't know. Brownies.
the brownie spot
They want to
club.
feed the missionaries brownies.
Yeah.
Like, here's
I will say,
dessert.
okay, I want to hear everything about your mission from the very beginning and who you went with. And I do want to say, as a public service announcement, be nice to your Mormons. You know what I mean? Like the few times Mormons Lord of the States have come to my door, it's like, let's have some food. We don't even need to talk theology. You you can say you tried. I understand.
Yeah.
Let's just have some snacks. Let's have some food. Because these are fucking
Oh, they're
kids.
down. They're down for.
They're down for that.
They're down for whatever. I mean,
Yes.
I'm speaking not for all of them.
Yes.
But like you treat them nicely if they treat you nicely. If
Yes.
they're jerks, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes.
Slap them.
Go ahead and re-jerk a jerk. But if
Yeah.
they're being sweet that sweetie.
I like that. Re-jerk a jerk.
Go re-jerk a jerk. But I was working as a reenactor in Salem, Massachusetts. Different Salem. I know you have an association with Salem, Washington. And there were Mormon missionaries there. And we were very close. And it was a really funny, I always wanted to write a script about this. They came to see our show. And then later they were worried that it was too entertaining. Because we told them it was educational, but the show was pretty entertaining.
It's too
and they
it's
were
too good.
worried that they were going to kind of be audited, like their supervisor was going to.
We don't get audited.
Not audited, but checked in on.
But yeah, I know.
And then we were like, if
That's
that
so funny.
happens, we will put on the most boring production of our show so you don't get in
How
trouble.
often were they coming to see
They
this
came
show?
once, and it took a lot of convincing. I mean, like after a summer of knowing each other, we were finally like, "Please come to the show. It's the real testimonies of the witch trials. It's educational."
I see that. That is educational. Did
It was.
you put you said it was entertaining? Was it no?
We
I mean,
improvised a lot, so there was.
you made it more of a comedic thing.
I did.
Okay,
I was
you did.
straight clowning.
I was the last show I ever did.
We got in trouble all the time. But anyway, that's where I had.
that sounds amazing.
That's where they would tell me horror stories about. They were stateside, obviously. They're working in Salem, big Spanish-speaking community, so they were bilingual.
Yeah.
And you could just tell it was wearing on them like a lot of slam doors and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of thing. So who did you go with, and tell me every feeling? Because it's also an exciting time in your life. You're 18, you're going to Japan.
Oh, it was insane. It was. I still tell. I mean, I geek out. I mean, almost should have warned you. Like you asked me about my mission. I was just the whole.
I love
time
hearing
we're here.
about these things.
But it was
Because I remember what it felt like to be 18. And going on trips like that.
I mean, and I'm convinced that all young people, basically once they finish high school, need to do some form of abroad.
Yes.
Like get out there. You know why college students will either do the backpacking trip across Europe,
Yep.
go on a mission, whatever it is. sure, I would say see the world. Of course, sometimes if you're as a missionary, you're called stateside, but you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Truly,
Look, I've
no
been to
matter where you
Arizona.
go.
That doesn't sound like a picnic to me. I've tried to sell tickets in Arizona. Let me tell you, folks. Scottsdale, I had a few doors slammed in my face, let me tell you right now. And I wasn't trying to get the burning in the bosom. Keep going.
And so going to, I was beyond excited studying the language. You study for 2 months intensively, but nothing
That's
will
part
still.
of it?
Well, so you have the MTC, the training center for 2 months. If you're learning another language, you go for 2 months ahead of time.
Wow.
They have one in Provo now. You can do it online. They have other places, but and then you go out there and first
Did you roll
day,
in with your brother and you're like,
So I did. So my brother and I
We've been
were there
studying.
at the training center the whole time, but then we parted ways for 2 years because he was going. Like I said, he went to a different mission. It was our neighboring mission. So mission is like it's a territory. I was the Tokyo North, which was like northern part of Tokyo and then several other areas north of that. And then he was Nagoya, which was the Nagoya area, but whatever. And part of the rules is you're not supposed to leave your area. You can't see anybody while you're there.
Yeah.
Which is fine. This is crazy to think. We wrote letters to each other. Not only was it not emails or letters, but also the fact that we wrote letters. We were like brothers.
Yes.
We're brothers.
In
like,
Old English.
Yeah. I was
Dearest
like,
brother,
why am I writing
how
letters
goeth
to him?
your mission?
Like,
The
life
road
is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Send more rye. So we never saw each other, but like twice a year. They change it now. Again, it's like once a week you're allowed to, but back then it was Mother's Day and Christmas you're allowed to call your family.
Whoa.
And then I was allowed to call him as well. But yeah, it was.
Was that special for you or that anybody? Like a twin
No,
thing?
no, because he was family,
I
and
see,
I guess
I
because
see.
he was serving at the same time.
Okay. Million questions. You train, you get there. When are you released? There's a mission already happening when you get there. You
The mission's
join a
there.
mission.
You get there and you get a trainer, a guy who's like already kind of learned the ropes, who's a little bit more experienced. But when I say trainer, he's just a regular missionary, but he can speak. Normally, he can speak the language better.
Yeah.
So he knows the ropes. He's going to show you the ropes for the first couple months. And so Gil Choro, that's how you say elder Choro.
Whoa.
So I was Hida Choro.
And it goes backwards like sun.
Yeah, Hida-san. It's all about their titles, like
And it
Hida-san.
goes last.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
we were Hida
Elder, that
Choro.
really brought me back.
Yeah,
Elders.
Elder, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
And Gil Chodo was his name, Elder Gil. He was amazing. And he was my trainer. And so, you're there.
But he's a kid too. He's got to be
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. Now, everybody's like between 19, 20, sometimes 22 or 23, whatever. But it's all within that age range. And it wasn't until about I remember the conversation, the first time, it was about 4 months in. He had already left and I got my new companion. And I was on a phone call and I made it through the phone call with basically understanding the
Japanese.
conversation.
Yes.
Because
Wow.
you are. I mean, nobody ever goes fully like, you think you prepare intensively for 2 months and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Of course.
You're listening to everybody. You're like so overwhelmed. The sights, the smells. I mean, Tokyo was such a culture shock.
Yes.
I mean, it was like living I was obsessed and still am with Blade Runner. I was like, I'm in Blade Runner.
You
right
are
now.
in Blade Runner.
This is lost. It was raining, neon signs, the sights,
Yes.
things floating around.
Yes. A naked lady bends over and talks to you.
And then, yes, exactly.
Can I tell you about another testament of Jesus Christ? And then she goes back.
Oh, you're not real. Boobies.
In that case, boobies!
It was not far from that. So about 4 months in, I was starting to feel comfortable with the language. And I could get by
before
on
we
my
get
own.
to that,
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
Tell me about your first day going out knocking on doors, not yet comfortable with the language. And I'm assuming they have a pretty intricate map. They're like, we've already talked to these people. You need to talk to these people, right?
Yes, but what's funny is
can't
every
go back.
area in the mission is assigned 2 or 4 elders, or sisters if they're in that area. So it was just the 2 of us in this area. And there's where he's gone. And you have records kind of what's been covered, but how far do those records go back? I mean, these
They
are
could move.
19-year-olds you're depending on. They may have
Yes.
not marked this or.
And is there
All
a
right, we've been there.
code for like interested but not? I'm not trying to be funny.
No,
Interested but not
yeah.
converted.
Oh, no, there's a whole shorthand
not
while you're
interested.
there.
Tell me the shorthand.
Well, like it was all in Japanese. The keen genes are keen is gold. So gene is person. Keen genes is like the golden content. This person's super interested. They're gonna get baptized.
They're
or
on their
whatever.
way. Okay.
That's a keen gene, But that's also like, yeah, there's, oh man, I'm forgetting a lot of it. But yes.
But you would have to have records of like this person's hostile, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that
you
would
don't
be,
really have records on people like it's just like, oh, we've done that apartment building.
I see.
And you're also keeping up, like half of the time you are in Japan, especially, you don't have as many. You hear about missionaries who go, I say south of the border, like whether it's Mexico or South America, and they're just constantly teaching. They're teaching. People are open. There's tons of people joining the church. In Japan, you don't have that. You're just like looking and being turned down. But you don't, like, it's not it doesn't get on you because you're just like, I'm learning Japanese every time I talk to someone. And I'm listening.
How was your attitude?
Well, yeah, because
So you didn't have like I'm not
wasn't bummed.
winning. I'm not.
No, like they tell you, like, look, this is where you're going. This is a reality, but you do your best and you stay strong.
That makes me happy that somebody wasn't breathing down your neck, being like,
no.
I need 10. Dude, growing up
mean, there
evangelical
could be.
people would be like, if you're not converting this many people a year, like, what are you doing? And I remember being like, high school is hard enough.
Yeah.
Like the few times that I would be like, can I tell you about the most important part of my life to somebody in a car? And it was always so tense.
Well, and the missionary, it's the missionaries. They're all like, I mean, they're people, they're just like, you're going to have Majime as those really strict guys. Wampaku is the opposite end. Oh, those guys were Wampaku. Those guys just go to the nearest electronics store and they'll just sit in the electric massage chairs. I knew guys on my mission, like I'm talking about elders. Like
elders.
Missionaries who were like,
that would blow
they
it
were
off.
not rule followers. They were just like, or they were lazy at the rules. They're like not breaking hardcore rules, but like, look,
You
in
had to
Japan,
have types like that.
Tokyo is a playground. Have you ever been to Tokyo?
No, I want to go.
It's a playground. It's still, I mean, you could go and get so distracted.
Of course.
And and so you hear about those who are like, oh, I'm strict and I'm going to do that. But yeah,
I
was
relate
like,
to that because I went to a Christian college and there were people there like me that were studying to become pastors.
Yeah.
And then there were people that are like, my parents are making me do this. Or like, they'll cut me off if I don't do this.
Yeah.
Meaning,
and that's
I'm
the
not
same
surprised.
way.
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
gotta
the same
be.
way. It
It's
really
people.
is. It's part of the culture. You're like, you're kind of the whole time you're growing up. It's like, this is part of you. This is what your dad did. And sometimes it's like,
You wanna rebel.
It feels more like pressure. And then
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, I can't wait to be part of that family legacy. Or I can't wait. You get the new converts who are like, I'm doing this. I don't have any family members who are members of the church. I need to
They're
go
on fire.
teach. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you'll get, and you see that it's part of the adventure of being a missionary is like, it's really for you. It's not really for other people. You are
interesting.
growing yourself. And a lot of times I'll say that it's really for the missionary to gain their own testimony or to learn the value of loving other people, of serving.
Compassion.
And
patience.
And
humility. I mean,
everything.
it's a low. I'm assuming you're not converting. There must be days, weeks.
11 people under my 2-year, going there, 2 years. 11 people under my, teaching that were technically baptized.
I see.
I taught tons of people, and there's tons of people who are like along the way, but I was just like, that's great.
Yeah.
Just as long as you're like out there.
2
and you're
years,
learning.
11 people. This is great. So Father Greg Boyle just did this podcast. He started Homeboy Industries. It's this amazing. I won't tell the whole story, but anyway, he's like, I don't know if prayer works, but I know praying works. So there's something about that, like the mission
the act.
being for you. Like, does it work? Well, the mission works for the missionaries.
Yeah.
And then there's also this other component of like the numbers or, what I
But
mean?
it is like, praying is also, when you think of, or kind of what you're talking about there, just what you're
I can
talking
tell
about
you're
there.
not a stand-up, which is fine. That's not a judgment, but we love the microphone.
I am a stand-up guy. What are you talking about? I like to think of myself as a stand-up person. But it is. It's like you work.
You were saying about prayer.
More about like when you go there, it's, you're going to get what you put in and what you expect. If you're there to hopefully, no, I was like perfectly in between. Well, I don't want to say in between. I was there to, I like to believe for all the right reasons. I want to go preach. I want to learn a new culture. I want to learn a new language. I want to learn what it's like to live on my own and to take care of myself. I want to have fun. I want to do all these things. And that's what I got out of it, And
we're very similar. I went to Venezuela into the jungle with the Yanomami Indians, and I went to...
say that again.
Yanomami Indians. It's also my Netflix password, so I'm going to have to change that.
Gosh dang it.
I'm just kidding. And then, and Uganda. So again, these are baby missions. These aren't 2-year missions. But like, it was, looking back, that was about me. Like, we built a house. The people there was already a church, so there were already people teaching. So it wasn't really... about like bringing home skulls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they say in the business world, like or scalps, it's not like numbers, like we're nailing it. These people
But then
said
to ask the
prayer,
question, like I literally was just talking to my sister about like a lot of these youth, whether it's through our church or a lot of churches will send out these young youth programs that go to these other countries, these lesser, third world, less fortunate, and do these house buildings. Very similar. And she's like, well, but like they don't know how to build houses. And I was like, you're probably right. Some of them probably more skilled than others, but a lot like my mission, hopefully they're going out there, and a lot of times it's for the good of the youth, the individual, because if they think they're doing good, and hopefully they're doing good for other people.
Yeah.
But
it sets a precedent for the rest
whether
of
or
their
not
lives.
that house falls apart as soon as they leave, at least what they've gained is it feels good to help others.
Yeah, no, I wasn't joking. They say that, I say this all the time, it's what I'll say to my daughter. It's like learning math in high school isn't about math. It's setting a precedent to learn something and to finish it, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I wish someone had explained that to me. I think I would have taken it a little more seriously because I was one of those, like, we're not going to need this sort of people. Tell me, and again, this is just out of pure... almost like white hot curiosity, not judgment. What is the strategy for, I could guess, for getting someone interested in the Latter-day Saint, in the Church of Latter-day Saints? I would have to imagine if you meet somebody who's as I jokingly call regular Christian, just meaning like we cut off at the New Testament. If you meet a regular, again, I'm kidding, but a regular Christian, that's a good base. There has to be like a tree graph for that. There's a lot of scripture that is built upon in the Book of Mormon, and also what are the tenets of faith? The
Articles of Faith?
The Articles of
Is that
Faith.
what you're talking about? Yeah, I think so.
That was written for the newspaper, but became this, wasn't published. Sorry, little Joseph Smith fun fact.
Oh, yeah.
But tell me a little bit of the strategy. If someone's opening the door, what are we doing?
Well, depending on which mission. Yeah. Like for us, and they kind of tailor a little bit different because we know you're going to another country. And really for us, I mean, at least back then, this is in the late 90s when I went.
I understand.
And it was, you start with a base. And for us, it's not Christianity, obviously. It's really God. You're just starting with God.
Yeah.
Well, and you work your way beyond that.
So what's the opening line? Do you believe in God? Do you have a minute to talk about God?
Oh my gosh, I was like, minasan wa Kami-sama o shinjite imasu yo. And like most people...
What is that?
It's like, so most people believe in a God, or at least a lot of people believe in a God. But to them, they're not thinking God, they're thinking a God or whatever it is. So you start just building from God, and you're working your way up from there.
And God...
And I don't even think Jesus comes into it until like lesson 2. We had different, lessons. Because
and
you have to
the first one, you're going for lesson 1. Just...
Yeah, whatever. It's always the same approach. You have your memorized kind of like, a script, because especially memorized since it's in another language, and you're just like, I can't improv yet.
Wow.
But
is there a place-holding line? If I say something in Japanese that's really complicated, there must be a line that you learn to say, which is like, please be patient, I don't know Japanese,
like,
something like that.
Speak slowly, but then ideally you're with but if someone has already gone that far to tell you something else besides yeah, muy desu, which is I'm good.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're not that engaging,
Yeah.
and they don't want to open up. They either shut the door, they don't even answer the door.
Yes.
So if you are already talking with someone, that's like a win. And you're like, great, we got more than
Japanese lesson.
Yes.
And a little bit of human interaction.
Yes.
And an adventure and a novelty. You never know what's going to happen.
And I constantly had my little Tongo book, Tongo for vocab, because every conversation you're learning new things like, repeat that one more time. And then write it down. I have my little dictionary, I look it up, like, oh, sweet, now I got that in my
Buddy,
pocket.
I see exactly why for a young person to see what learning looks like in a real world setting is so, like the first time when I was in my mission in South America, when we were in Caracas, driving around, I was the only one that spoke Spanish, and being able to understand more than I could speak, which was a weird phenomenon. Of course, I attributed that to God. I was like, I understand. I think we're going to the hotel.
We're speaking tongues. That's part of it.
I think I'm translating the tongues he's speaking, technically. But it made learning real. And so I'm just excited for 18-year-old John.
It was very, you change. It's what I needed. It's what I was expecting, but also you don't feel it until you're off the mission and you're just like, I enjoy school more. I enjoy, everything more.
Is it because of what we're talking about? Like you saw what learning is for?
Yeah, well,
you're like, there's a whole world out there, and the more you know,
yes,
the sort of easier it is.
Because where you're starting from is faith. You're starting from this is what I believe. I want to go out and share, and I want to serve a mission. Well, then with that is a whole experience that comes packaged together and all these things. You got to learn. For me, I had to learn a new language. I had to learn how to live with another person. I had to learn how to cook and clean. I had to learn just all these things that come with that are kind of in the book, and it's going to happen, but you're learning along the way. And
I say that all the time. All married people should be single and alone for a year, because you see what it's like, especially in the patriarchy. Like you expect someone to do the dishes. Like, do your own dishes.
Oh yeah.
For a couple years. I still do my own dishes. I'm just saying, because you learn that no one wants to do them. It's not like, the women like doing it. No, everyone just knows you got to get the mac and cheese off the plate. Do it yourself.
And they're prepared, because you will have such a plethora of different personalities with all your companions.
Well, what was your guy like? What was his name?
Which one?
Because
I had a lot.
You swapped out.
Well, so companions.
Your companion.
You have different companions. You're swapping almost every couple months.
Really?
Sometimes, it's different. For each mission will be different, but you never have the same companion for the whole thing. I mean,
I thought you were
that might
just
have been
bros
back
for 2
in
years.
The 50s or
Yeah.
No, I had. Oh man, I got to count, but it's I had 7 different areas, and each area was about 2 companions. So I had 15, maybe 16 different companions.
Wow.
All at, different times, but.
Okay. I didn't know they mixed you guys up a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's what's great, because you will have your favorites. You will have your lesser favorites. There will be fights.
Some people just aren't for you.
Oh,
Did you fight with any of them?
I never fought physically.
Yeah.
And the one that I probably struggled with the most was more psychological, stare down. It was just I see what he's doing. He's using passive aggressive. What is that? Passive aggressiveness? I just learned that word.
Tell me what an altercation looks like in a 2-person
it was
mission
not
in
exciting
Japan.
for me. From my perspective, it would not be exciting to you, because it's just
it just wasn't the sweetest potato.
when I was the senior companion, I'd be like, well, what do you think? You're always, you try to learn to work together and make your decisions together like a good couple should. And you're like, all right, well, do you think we should go down there and do some pass out some chirashis, which is the little flyers?
Yeah.
Just passing out flyers. And he's like, well, I don't know. Do you think we should do that? And, and it was a little bit if it was having a bad day, and it was just oh, okay, let's do it. Just I'm not going to deal with this nonsense.
Whoa.
Or you would hide insults within compliments, kind of those.
I understand.
That kind of thing.
And was there holiness competing? Who's
who's holier or who's more?
I just remember
it could be rules.
Talking to somebody else, they were like, the way I did my mission is Heavenly Father told me where to go. And if you were like, should we go over here? It's like, I'm Kane in Kung Fu. Like I'm waiting for a message from above, and
I don't know, what is he saying?
Exactly like that. That's who I would have been.
Well, he's telling me to punch you in the face right now. No.
Here's a question. Honestly, note the time because I'm not even trying to put you in a corner.
No, I'm
Open
here
book?
for you. Whatever.
I'm gonna say when you're an 18-year-old, because I was an 18-year-old going on missions again, only for 3 years.
Yeah.
What is the? You're the horniest you've ever been, John.
Oh yeah.
And when I was that age, all of my spirituality came down to whether or not I was masturbating. That was the entirety. I was holy if I wasn't, and I was going to hell if I was. And here you guys are alone. We joked that it is an erotic city. And I studied a semester in Jerusalem. There was an adult bookstore, literally made like a Star Wars. It looked like a Star Wars cantina. There was an adult bookstore. And I was always like so repressed and just trying to catch a glimpse of a boob or something.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not trying to trap you.
No.
You're talking to a brother. I'm like, I loved God. I love God.
Yeah.
And I was earnest and I was horny as fuck.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just wondering what is the jerk off situation because here's why. Were you shrouded in guilt? Was it something people talked about? Tell me.
Well, it was like the obvious answers are like, yes, of course, like you shouldn't be doing that. And it was, I will say it's like, I think it was on the mission the first time I had a wet dream. And I had them multiple times. And I think
well, that stands to reason. I mean, if you're not jaying it.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, what's happening? It was like,
it was confusing, right?
Well, yeah, and it was just like, oh man, but also like, what happened to that dream again? If I can only remember, hold on to that, because you're like, man, that was great, and like,
it's the only porno you were seeing.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got a great imagination. My mind can whip up some amazing stuff.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, like you're there, and like any mission, they always joke like what we would call like you got your mission goggles on. Meaning, wherever you are, the ladies are going to look great.
Yeah.
Because you're a missionary and you're away and you're going through that. Like, you could be like, it could be the most unattractive. It's like, no, you got your mission goggles on. You see it. But, of course, being Christian, being a young missionary, they tell you to lock your heart, which is
lock your heart.
Well, but that's almost a different, there's the obvious, like, obviously you cannot have sexual relations, or any relations while you're on a mission, you refrain from that. But then the whole lock your heart is kind of like, lock your heart, try not to
fall in love,
open your heart to romance.
Yes.
To, even if it's not sexual or whatever. It's just like, you've got to focus. Just do your best to focus.
Yeah. Hard to do though, right? Did you struggle?
I did. I was great. And I saw, and there's a little bit of like, I'm pretty good at this. Now, I was not a popular guy growing up in high school. I did not. I had one girlfriend before.
Me too. And barely that. She doesn't know we dated, but we dated.
No, I was like, all right, I know it's going to happen for me one day. Today's not that day, man.
You were able to do that?
To what?
Like refrain from, I'm not just looking for jerking off, but like for me, even 3 weeks was like, this is a lot, but I would do it. And then I'd come home and just go, no. But you're on 2 years.
Yeah, no, well, but you're not like, you're just like, no, you're just like, no, let's focus. Let's focus.
That worked.
I mean,
you just willed yourself to do it?
Yes.
And from 18 to 20?
Well, when
those
you
are
have
prime jerk off years. You're in the prime of your career.
I didn't have a lot of practice before, so it wasn't like I had like a bar that was already set.
Dude, I wasn't at peace with it, but it was still happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like I am now, which is very liberal. But like back then, I was always trying not to. But when you're in those situations, I guess I'm trying to have a conversation about guilt and purity.
I'm not saying no. It happened. It happened. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it wasn't like, of course.
And did you feel horrible?
Well, horrible. No, because I like to think maturely, even at that age, I was like, I shouldn't. And I should. And, but I also get, it's like these natural urges. I don't feel bad for feeling bad about it, but I also don't feel bad for not beating myself up about it.
I understand.
It's kind of a mix somewhere in between. I was like, no, just keep focusing. It's always about, it's that concept like, I'm going to keep messing up. I'm going to keep messing up. And whatever it is, just as long as you acknowledge it and you just keep going forward and just keep trying.
Was it something that the guys talked about?
No,
because we didn't talk about it either.
No.
I've talked about this many times. I found someone's journal. I feel bad that I read it, and in it said, "I sinned again today," and we all.
What does that mean? The pages are stuck together. Oh no!
What does it mean to sin in the journal?
Come on. Then you see a picture of you next to it.
You can see why I was like, I'm not trying to get you.
No, I see.
My relationship to God, especially at that age, was just so... It's easier to be a spiritual person now that I'm 43, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Because when I was 18, it was just like so many fireworks were going off inside of me. It's pretty interesting that that's the age that we do it.
And what's interesting, it was almost more like I've grown spiritually, and so I was different then, but it was also all pistons firing in on both sides. Yes, you're horny and you've got hormones and all this stuff, but you're also not putting yourself in situations.
Yeah.
You're not hanging out with girls. And if you do, I was like, no, I'm not going to ever. That's part of what you're saying. Like, we just don't do these things. We don't put ourselves in these dangerous situations, so I'm not going to feel it. Right. And it's fine. But at the same time, like I said, on the opposite side, it was like all pistons firing spiritually. I was like on a high.
Yeah.
I was feeling like.
That's what set me up. You were feeling what?
I was feeling that immediate, when I was feeling the Spirit. Yeah. I was feeling the Spirit constantly. As a missionary, they say that's what you strive for, and I did it. You're feeling like you're out there and you're praying and like, okay, guide us, and you have those miracles, you have those experiences.
Well, tell me some mission stories, if any, come to mind. Not of a guy carving into his arm and stuff. Those were wild, and I don't think true. But
I would believe it.
Would you?
100. Yes.
Tell me some mission stories.
We all, another thing we all joke about is like every missionary will tell you. Like their mission has the craziest people because missionaries just draw out the crazy. And not trying to be insensitive, but you will talk to the most interesting, doing finger quotes, interesting, just some very mentally interesting, like interesting, and some straight up crazies, and because they're willing to talk.
Yes,
and you will talk to incredible people who are genuine beyond belief and want to learn more, and then you'll meet people who are just starving for attention. And they just need to talk, all kinds. So
this is church, by the way. Yeah. At church, there's a certain element that is attracted to as anyone would be, a group bound by forgiveness and love.
Yeah.
So if you're Kathy, the kooky lady that no one wants to talk to, and your family disown, it's sort of nice that you can go to church and be loved. But that doesn't mean Kathy isn't bonkers. Kooky bonkers.
I was just literally probably 2 years ago in an airport, and no, I was working there.
Oh, okay. And I think I saw you. People like,
yeah, it's a great part time. And me and my buddy had met this nun, a Catholic nun, and we had befriended her. We were talking, we had lunch with her, and it was so interesting. I love it. I loved meeting people of other religions and really just getting in and talking about some of her experiences. And we were walking down the terminal in between, and just this woman, out of nowhere, this younger woman walked right up to her and was like, "Sister," and she's bawling and just like, "I'm so sorry." And so she was like, basically, I mean, it was kind of a drive-by confession, and she just,
she brought her own beads,
exactly,
or whatever they do it through,
and she was, I think she was trying to confess something, but she wasn't getting into specifics. It was just so quick, but it was really powerful to kind of see. I had never been exposed to that, growing up in a different.
Monks, priests, nuns, the public. I don't say costume disrespectfully, but if you can tell by what you're wearing, people be coming up to you for sure.
And now, so if you wear the nun outfit, they're going to confess to you. If you wear the elder's outfit, they're going to just hey, and here's, check out my markings on my arm. We're like, no, it's,
throw a Mountain
it really
Dew at
is.
you.
No, I mean, there was, oh man.
I do not encourage throwing Mountain Dews at the Latter-day Saint missionaries. That was a riff.
No, they will be very grateful because they got quick reflexes. We ride around everywhere on bikes. We got to know.
Light on caffeine.
And now they drink caffeine. And
Do they now?
Well, yeah.
That's gone? I thought that was out.
No, that was like the quick thing on that was it was never a commandment or never like a rule. It was always kind of more familiar. Like a lot of people believed like it was no, we don't drink caffeine. And the prophet a number of years ago, I mean, this is like, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago when he was like, kind of like, look, it's fine.
Caffeine is fine.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like anything, it's just like nothing that's to it. If you're addicted to it, then maybe you shouldn't be drinking it. But
you know what I liken it to is like, you know how it says in the Old Testament not to eat crabs and stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Crab roll. Certainly have had crab in my life, but they were like, there's some wisdom to it. These things are eating all the shit, like literally eating shit at the bottom of the ocean.
When we think about it, why are they so delicious?
It's not a hard rule, but there's something true to it. But anyway, we have two things going. I do want to know what people get wrong about the Church of Latter-day Saints, and so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But tell me these. You were saying people always think their mission has the craziest stories. What were your stories, and what were the stories you heard?
Well, I didn't have. Oh man, that's a good one because you almost block out. Well, it was hard to remember some of the crazies because their Japanese was nuts.
Yeah,
and a lot of it was when I was in actual Tokyo because a lot of my mission was outside of Tokyo. It was north in Tokyo, a big city like that. You're gonna get like some interesting people, but I mean, it was also just like, all right, they invite you back to their little apartment and you go inside and then they're pulling out food that you're like, whoa, what is this?
That was part of my training too.
And part of being a missionary, they always say it's not hardcore, but even from when you're a kid, I tell my kids, like, you got to eat what they give you. You don't want to offend them.
Yeah.
And I did that early on, and you're just like, oh gosh, like, oh no, like, what do I got to eat here? And so, yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff but I don't.
Nothing like spiritually odd. Nobody like having convulsions, some sort of.
No, I never had that. No, like spirits that or demons that needed to be exorcised.
Yeah.
You start talking. Obviously, other missionaries, either stories from other missionaries or just from their youth, especially missionaries who are from Utah, because Utah, where not only the base of the churches, but that's where you get a lot of the skinwalker stores. And boy,
what are those?
Skinwalkers? You've never heard of skinwalkers?
You know what a skinwalker is?
What?
Tell me everything.
Man. Well, it's just another form. It's based. Okay, this will excite you. Navajo witchcraft.
Get out of here.
That is. No, it is.
What are you saying?
It's like.
Don't look at me and go, Navajo witchcraft.
That's sweet. I wanted to see your action. I wanted to see if that kind of person where you get erect a little bit when you hear that. And you're like, oh, that's exciting.
Just a little.
It is
interesting. What's a skinwalker?
Skinwalker, it's Navajo. It's like.
It's Navajo witchcraft.
It's Navajo witchcraft, duh. No, it's like, I feel like every culture is like when you think of voodooism, when you think of all these devil worshiping and different, but
yes.
I don't even know if like they were, considering the devil, but just
I understand
evil.
Yeah, devil becomes a catch-all for evil.
But
stuff.
I guess the best way is like we're talking like shape-shifting, like stories about people seeing full-blown like deer that are running and then they stand up and turn into a man. Like I'm not giving it good justice, but it's really cool. Once you will,
man, I can't believe what I ate when I was a deer. No,
that guy was just running. Oh yeah,
and he still poops little pellets.
Yeah,
the transition isn't complete. I'm still kind of a deer.
I'm still digesting a little bit. It's those little BBs.
Yeah. But you're a man.
Yeah, but you're a man.
My butt didn't transform. I still have the tail.
It's just hairless.
But you're saying Utah as a place is like one of the more.
They just had a lot of stories coming out of that. Yeah, because you're gonna. I feel like the culture runs deeper with whether it's and how much it's true, but like old members telling stories about getting rid of evil spirits out of the house, out of a person.
Yeah,
and not just church stories, but like just demonology.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. And I believe in that. If I believe in Christ, if I believe in God, I believe in Satan. And therefore, I believe that evil spirits can exist. And that's why Paranormal Activity was the freaking scariest movie.
I didn't care for it
because
it was so scary.
It was so scary. But I mean, it's cheap and lame, but I'm also like putting myself in those shoes. I was like, oh my gosh, that's just terrifying to me.
Yeah, that movie's sort of a Napoleon Dynamite in itself. It probably cost a very little amount to make and did very well.
Good segue right into it. Let's go into it. Yeah.
It's still up.
Oh, it's up. We're doing double? The first one wasn't good
planning
enough?
on. No, the second one was.
You just left it.
Oh, little feather. Okay, so have you ever seen a ghost? Because here's why. When I was in Utah, you're reminding me.
Yeah.
I did a radio show, and they played. I really wish they hadn't, but they said that they went to a insane asylum in Utah, and they're like, Utah's one of the most haunted places in the world. And this is the story. They had turned the insane asylum into an attraction. So there were people dressed as ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a haunted theme park, basically.
They do a lot of good haunted, like, themed stuff over there.
But it was supposed to be a real haunted place. But to make it a more consistent scare, they got actors to haunt the place for a living wage.
Yeah.
And then the woman this woman goes up to the manager and goes like, this child, there's a 7-year-old girl crab walking backwards down the stairs. It's inappropriate for you to have a 7-year-old girl working here. And he goes, of course, there's no 7-year-old girl working here. She had just seen a ghost amidst all the fake
I feel like that's
ghosts.
part of the job is he has to say, there's no 7-year-old. And like, you guys, they bought it.
Oh, that is Occam's razor right there. Like, most likely, that's part of the fun is it'd be like, there's no, he does it 8 times a day. There's no 7-year-old.
If I was a ghost, it depends on what the ghost's MO is. Like, they're like, I want maximum, exposure. I'm going to come out when there's all these other fake ghosts and nobody will believe. Or that's the best way to do it. That's
good thinking. That's good ghost thinking.
But what are they thinking like that? No, I've never seen a ghost.
No, I've seen a ghost face.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Has
Between me, you, and Katie, who's seen a ghost? This face. You look like you're looking at a ghost over my shoulder right now.
No, I'm not. I'm just looking at your giant ears. No.
They'll haunt you.
Hold on.
Oh, they'll haunt you. Okay, so no weird mission story, no ghost. We're jumping to this. Have you ever almost died? Then we're going to get to your comedy career. Who cares?
Exactly.
I mean, talking to somebody that's on a mission, that is really fun and interesting to me. But have you ever almost died?
No. Not like a near-death experience. Like, sure, living in Japan and riding on a bike, sure, I got
many times.
It was always like, it's not when, it's not if you get hit in a bike accident, it's when, because if you're in Tokyo,
ride your bike around.
So we rode bikes everywhere. And and I got clipped a few times. Nothing like, I mean, luckily I was, I was protected. But no, nothing. I've never been in, no.
Okay, Skip.
No.
What do people get wrong about the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ?
Well,
I'm not even going to say magic underwear, John. But I just did.
Yeah.
But I know the stereotypes. Are you wearing it?
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's not magic.
I know. But tell me what it is.
But it does magical things.
Tell me everything about your underwear. You just gave it a little glimpse, too.
Yeah.
And you're wearing an outfit.
Whenever I wear shorts, I'm just like, I got to hide a little bit like that.
What is it called? Nephilim?
The garments.
The garments.
Garments.
That's
or
from
garments. That sounds the garments.
The garments.
Yeah, we wear garments.
The garments.
Yeah.
Let's say the garments.
The garments.
And was that a later revelation? Or is that a Joseph Smith?
That is no. That's from when they started building the temples and reinstituting and like the temple stuff, and it's part of when you first go through the temple at a certain age, you can't do it before 18, or actually, I guess it's
when
19.
did you do it?
It was when I received my endowments. They call it is when I prepared to go on a mission.
Before your mission, so you had these.
Yes, during the mission.
And does it go up into your upper body?
It's just like a t-shirt and
oh, it's
just
2 pieces.
Underwear. Yeah, it's just
2 pieces.
Yeah.
And it is for protection.
Well, I mean, you could say spiritual protection. It's a reminder. It has symbolism to it, like kind of a bunch of things kind of in one.
Sure. You're not alone. It's funny. You're not alone in terms of other faiths that have clothes. That they wear. I knew there were some Jehovah's Witnesses I talked to that told me they wore scratchy sweaters.
I have not heard.
It wasn't like a precept. It was something that these guys were doing because it kept them conscious. It kept them present because they didn't want to be comfortable. When you're comfortable, you start to
Oh, you
vanish.
start to, like,
so
yeah,
they wanted to
idle
always
hands
be
or whatever.
scratching on something, and they'd use that as a reminder to stay in the moment and to stay thinking about God.
That's the same reason why I wear it. I can't stand wearing it.
Well, it is wool. It's 100% wool.
When you're living in California, you're like, oh, I just need one less layer.
And do you ever just wear that to the beach or something like an old timey?
It's out there. It's like we hike it up. Sometimes it's a one-piecer. You can get one-piecers.
It's a
I don't know
singlet.
how that works.
Yeah, that's what I thought
It's
it was.
not
I
a
thought it was
singlet.
a.
You
can wear a singlet.
You can get all kinds.
Is it a whole business? You go and buy them somewhere?
Yeah. You can buy them like online. You can buy them at the temple, and you get them. Yeah,
You just wear them.
yeah.
All right. Very Frodo when he got stabbed, and they were like, "Look, he's wearing the."
Oh yeah,
Nephilim."
that's what.
whatever it's
Sometimes people have those amazing stories. I wish I had better like near death or just like
Fuck it. Let's get to comedy.
Bullet wound. This one bounced off. Why? Because of your rock hard nipple? Nope.
Nope.
My garments.
My garments. Yeah.
But my rock hard nipple deflected the other bullet.
You're H-N. Okay. So take me from being, I'm going to say it, a sweet, fun-loving, adventurous, occasionally jaying it, Mormon missionary,
Yeah.
to Napoleon Dynamite, your first break. What happened there? How did you get into comedy? Because you're so naturally funny. Were you a funny fella?
I think that was actually a part of the transformation was actually kind of on the mission because you really
I'm
find
not surprised.
a lot
Yes.
about yourself.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way. So before I grew up really into art, and my twin and I, we were big at, in drawing and so we had the creative, kind of bug there. And then it wasn't until like middle school and high school when we started making videos and I was like, I want to get into films. This really, I dig it.
What was the movie that did it?
Well, so growing up, having watched all the Star Wars, Steven Spielberg stuff, E.T., Goonies, obviously, kind of that stuff.
We're
Child
the
of
same
80s.
age, so yes, exactly.
Yeah. But it really was, I think I'd already decided, but when I saw Jurassic Park in the theater, in like freshman year of high school.
We just rewatched that raptor scene.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's so good.
Get out of here.
And still like that, it wasn't just that. There was a number of other films that probably around that time. Really, high school was like, in the 90s, there were some great films coming out, and I was like, okay, I want to make movies. And so.
Did you make them with like a camcorder?
Yeah, we had my dad's camcorder. Every opportunity we had to shoot a video for a class project, we would. If there was if there was a book report, if there was a social studies
video.
Yeah, video. Because it was a guaranteed A+ and then some.
Yes.
Extra credit.
Yes.
Because teachers loved it. We did White Fang book report, and we had a Siberian Husky that was White Fang. We had a Japanese exchange student who was every other Indian.
Oh my God, no!
It's terrible.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you in your area, hard to find.
Yeah,
Some
hard to find.
diversity.
We're like, we've got a Japanese exchange student. Let's use him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dog is not for sale. That's always still quoted to this day in my
Dog is
house.
not for sale?
Dog is not for sale.
Oh my!
We loved it to
God.
death. We were like, thank you, Taku. Thank you.
His name was
Changed
Taku?
it. Taku, yeah.
I know
Taku Tachihara. He was. We talked while we were in Japan. It was great.
No
I could finally
kidding.
speak to him.
Yes. Oh, you looked him up?
Yeah, of course I had to. I was like, now I can like speak to him in his native language, and he loved it. He loved it.
Oh, the subtitles are on. You cast me as every Indian in your dumb movie. Okay, I thought this was going to be more fun.
And I was
than
like,
this.
haha, I recorded it back then, and now I understand it, you sucker.
Yeah.
Gratitude, buddy. Look it up. Kansha shimasu. There you go.
Very nice. Also, my Netflix password.
So
any opportunity to make a little film, you would.
yeah, we love making videos. So naturally, just when we did a year at BYU before we got into the film program, we were like, we're going to do this. Then go on my mission, and on the mission is really when I found during high school when we make videos, I was not in the drama club. I was not doing the acting stuff, but you would be in your own videos, just goofing around. And so I think that started to come out. Like, I like to be goofy, I like to mess around. And every video we were in, it was like trying to do comedy and
Silly.
just be stupid.
Yeah.
And so I think that really got accentuated in the mission because I was alone now. I didn't have my twin brother around me. I could really, not that he kept me back, but it's like, this is how I stand out. We would put skits on at Christmas time. I bought a camcorder when I was there. I made videos there. And so that really became like, and that I kind of became known for that on the mission, just the animated guy, like just kind of messing around and being goofy.
Yes.
And being made of spaghetti, just like, and like, I was obsessed with Jim Carrey, and
of course.
And so after the mission, re-enroll in BYU, get back into the film program, start taking film classes. And one of the classes was, obviously we have to take an acting class. And I was like, okay, and we take it, and it clicked. Like, I loved it. I got it. I understood it. I was like, okay. And it was almost like it had always been there, but now I'm seeing it in class form and learning some of, whether there's terminology or some of the methods. I was like, this is great.
Removing the mystique a little bit.
Yeah, but in a great way. Like, okay, I get this. And
I remember being young and thinking acting was for like special people. Like you had to be like a movie star to act.
Well, and I did like acting camps like in grade school, but I didn't have, I do remember the switch where I was shyer and I didn't know how to project or put myself out there on stage. It was still a little bit like, kind of hold back and reserved, but it wasn't until the mission I was able to kind of like find that confidence.
I'm not surprised at all. Again, when John came in, we were like, this is meant to be.
Yeah.
Very similar. It's like the church was my safest place to start performing. It gave me stages. There were, youth retreats or whatever it may be. But it was also kind of like a safe and loving environment to like be yourself.
Yeah.
But then it was like also combined with this very real world, go to Venezuela, like go try and order decaf coffee in the Caracas airport. You know what I mean? And I'm like, sin caffeine. And they had no idea what I was talking about. It wasn't for me, by the way. I'm not a monster. But all of this stuff was giving me a safe place to find my personality.
Absolutely. And you go to BYU, it's just an extended mission to some sorts, like where I was now doing what I wanted to do. I was studying film, but I was amongst people who had, generally the same beliefs, the same kind of, but not just the beliefs. It was also kind of raised the same way, come from very similar backgrounds.
You were comfortable.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, because the film programs at Gordon, I went to this Christian college, regular Christian.
was lower. I call it lower.
Two book. Yeah, you can call it lower.
Two book Christian college.
Two book Christian.
I love that.
I'll be your servant. But we the film program was a little lacking because we couldn't have a conversation necessarily about Pulp Fiction or something. Like there were things that were naughty.
And we had professors who they were pretty open about, like, we had professors who would talk about it all. They weren't allowed to like show certain films, but they would certainly talk about it or maybe show scenes. And it wasn't too hardcore. But I think there's so much out there that they could cover. I think what was so amazing, and like, at least, I don't know if it was our justification or what we believed, but we're like, because we're still making films here in a college that's still, essentially owned by the church, or then, we can't make, rated R material.
Yeah.
We can't do certain things, but none of us were really interested in doing that. And it forced us to be like, all right, we got to really get creative and think outside the box and do different things.
I've said this a million times, but Howard Stern, I think either he said it or some people have said it. It's like when he was restrained on terrestrial radio, that was kind of the golden age of Stern, is because they had to play in this box. And when I was being funny in the Christian box, I was probably being more interesting.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
not saying I'm not interesting
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
but now I can go up and be like, you ever see a dick that looks like it has a whatever, like,
Yeah.
like, and that's fine and
Yeah.
it's funny. But when I was really, and I think that is where you get a movie like Napoleon Dynamite. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Well-
I'm like, that's exactly it. Here, let's go to a quick break. We're going to go to our mid-roll ads, and when we come back, we'll finally get to Napoleon Dynamite, which I wasn't going to, but we're going to talk about it as a product of this kind of restraint.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Pardon the interruption, weirdos. This episode is brought to us by maybe my favorite new Pete's Pick, which is real paper. I mean, it's wonderful that we have toilet paper at all. Remember when that was a problem? But trees are pretty great, wouldn't you say? I mean, they provide shade, they make oxygen, which we need to live. They prevent erosion, they suck up all that carbon, they provide homes for animals. I mean, is there anything they can't do? And to turn something as awesome as a tree, and more accurately, a forest of trees into toilet paper has always, to me, just felt super, super wrong. These trees spent decades growing only to get cut down and literally flushed down the toilet. I mean, even the tree from the Giving Tree get to give out a few apples before they turn their branches into a house. It's weird. This is why I love real paper. Real, R-E-E-L, makes a sustainable toilet paper that uses 100% bamboo. The great thing about bamboo is it's a fast-growing grass. Some species of bamboo can grow up to 3 feet per day, and because it's a grass, they're able to harvest the same stalk over and over without disrupting the plant or the soil. And on top of the ecological benefits of using bamboo, Reel's paper packaging is plastic-free and compostable. It makes so much sense. We've been using Reels as soon as we found out about it. Full stop. I don't have to remember to get it because we subscribe and it just shows up. It feels great. I'm going to say it. It feels great on my butt. 2, it feels great to know that we're not wasting trees. Why were we ever doing that when this was an option? Real paper is available in easy, hassle-free subscriptions or one-time purchases on their website. All orders are conveniently delivered to your door with free shipping in 100% recyclable, plastic-free packaging. So if you head to realpaper.com/weirdo and sign up for a subscription using my code WEIRDO at checkout, you'll automatically get 30% off your first order and free shipping. That's REELPAPER.com/weirdo or enter promo code weirdo to get 30% off your first order plus free shipping. So let's stop flushing our forests and try Reel's tree-free paper. Reel is paper for the planet. And show your support of the podcast. Back to the show. And we're back. Go ahead.
I love it. That was weirdly, it felt like 3 minutes. Is that normally how it was? I had 3 minutes of dead time just now.
We just sat here in silence
In my mind.
for 3 full minutes.
Yeah.
Dead silent. Just
like-
staring and waiting for the
I would go,
ends.
and you're like,
Not yet.
shush me with your fingers.
Shush. Shush.
Right up against my lips. COVID tested. He's clean. It's fine.
Okay, so tell me what that makes you, the Napoleon Dynamite, from this conversation's perspective, now really seems like the kind of idea that grows in exactly this soil. We're not going to cut people's heads off. It's not going to be about sex. It's not going to be about profanity.
Yeah.
This is in a time when we're starting to see the Apatow kind of wave, right? Or is it's before?
No, this is just before.
Just
I mean,
before.
Freaks and Geeks had come out.
Right.
In
But like the
2001.
raunchy grown-up comedy.
Yeah, we were still kind of going through a spell where rated R comedies were not as big. I think they were on the cusp. Like they went through that wave, and then it wasn't popular for a lot of the 90s, and then it was started coming back soon after. But
So how did this come to you?
so kind of what we were saying before, that said, with those kind of restraints, you'll either have filmmakers that are like, being a critic already as a film student, we would see our peers work and like, well, that's pretty lame. And, like, that's not great. Or that is brilliant. Now, soon after getting in, a few years in, I met Jared Hess, who wrote and directed Napoleon. And at the time, we were just in similar classes and not similar, but we were in this directing class together. And I think, it was just it was built and meant to be, you know, it was like, it was the perfect combination because he grew up there and it was just his story in Preston, Idaho. And so many similarities in our background. He was raised LDS. He had a lot of younger brothers. Grew up kind of in what you call a crusty household where, you're using different words to express your anger instead of curse words or whatever.
Yes.
So,
which to non-LDS people especially reads as quirky, interesting.
Yeah.
Like lo-fi funny.
Yeah.
Not, but to you, maybe it was like, this is familiar.
It still felt familiar, but still quirky because like I was still surrounded by, I always heard that language, whatever. But when Jared came to me, I had done one other project that I acted in. That my production was like my intro to production class, or it's like a intermediate production class, and they needed one person for this film that we were all putting together, and they're like, "Well, John, you do it." And I think it was just like class clown kind of vibe, like, "Okay, you've seen the Goofiest, you like to mess around, let's put you in it." I think it was just that. That was the only thing I had been in.
Wow.
Jared must have seen it. We were in the same class, so. It was a big class, a lot of people, so he must have been observing me somewhat. But he just comes to me with the script.
Did you do a character similar to Napoleon in that? Or were you just being you?
I think it was more being me. But I think just when I was not acting, just me in general, probably talking about my frustration sounds like Napoleon. And if I was pissed
to
or
this
annoyed.
Day, in traffic, people are like, "Are you doing Napoleon?" It's like,
it gives it away.
He was doing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Dude, you read the script. I think you'd be good." And it was for the short film that we did.
Yes.
And the second I read it, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, this is like so not obvious." But I was like, "Yes, this is I get this. This is what I've been looking for." It's that same kind of sense of humor, but we hadn't seen it portrayed this way yet.
Yeah.
Because he approached a lot of his early stuff with this really this gritty kind of approach where it's partially because we had no money, so he's shooting everything on black and white 16 millimeter film, and it's going to make it look kind of crusty, but it helped it. Instead of like trying to make a colorful, high school comedy and crisp and clean, we were like, no, we're hanging out with these kids. We want to make it look like it is a home video that they're shooting, or someone is just hanging out with a little bit of shaky cam or a little bit of like wide angle lens, and everybody looks a little bit uglier than they really are. And I loved it.
That felt personal. You're like, maybe
Yeah.
I don't look that weird.
Yeah, you guys don't forget wide angle lens.
And the wig was it a wig?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay. Whoops. I'm just kidding. But the hair did a lot.
No, the best one was when I had someone interview me, like a press after the movie came out. She's like, "How did they do the buck teeth?" I was like, "Wait, what are you talking? Like what?" She's like, "The teeth. How did they do those big?" I was like,
"Wow, how'd they do those ridiculous teeth?"
And it was a phone interview, so she couldn't see me go like covering my teeth. Like, those are mine. And I don't even remember how she covered. I was like, "You suck." Okay. Breathing heavily into the phone.
That's like what I used to call like Sears to see if like a toy had come in, and they'd go, "Sorry, ma'am, it hasn't come out yet." And I'd be like, "Thanks a lot, ma'am," and I'd hang up.
What are they talking about? Oh, my farts don't smell like urine. Why do they keep saying that? Oh. Because that's what boys say to dude, whatever, man. Your farts smell like piss. Like, you're just queefing. That's not like real farts. I was like, "Oh, come on. I'm not a chick. I'm not a chick."
A dick queef? I've never heard of a dick queef.
Like, as if like your farts smell like urine because it's really come out. It's really, yeah, you get, oh, I didn't have to explain. I'm sorry. I thought I had to explain.
No, I felt so seen and loved that you did explain it.
I was like,
you did explain it.
It's the best thing you can say to a guy. It's like, "No, man. Oh, his farts smell like urine, man." Wait, and then it takes him a while. "Oh, no, that's not. No, that's a real fart, dude. Check it out. No, it's coming out of my butthole. You idiot. It's straight butthole. There's no vagina farting here today."
Well, that would be a real queef.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
what I
that
mean.
were a penis to queef, it would smell
Yeah.
like pee-pee.
Yeah.
Depending. So, okay, so...
This is the dirtiest I get, by the way. I knew this was going to happen. This is why I said it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I was just
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll find that just
Where's
on
the
the
part?
line.
Because
Okay, so you read it, you shot it on 16 millimeter film in black and white, and then when did that go like, oh, we should turn this into something? And wait, before we even get to that, how did you build that character? What were you basing it on and all that?
it was there on the page, but really, like, I read
was? How is
It
it?
was
I don't
without like a
understand.
lot of the physicality, but
Yeah.
like it was. It's like, okay, he said it, but Jared, if you had
Sorry,
met-
Katie, there was
Yeah,
a
no.
funny moment just before this, if you want to note it.
Yeah.
While you were in the bathroom. I'm just
She could
kidding.
hear us,
There's
like-
a funny dick queef thing that I think might be worth noting.
and cutting everything else out. Just
that's all we released.
Just a 1 minute episode.
Ads, 1 minute of dick queef, more ads, then it comes back to us and we're just laughing about dick queefs.
Dweef.
A dweef.
No, I just made that up.
I knew you did.
Dweef.
And I yes-anded it very fast.
I'm a dweeb, not a dweef.
So it was sort of on the page.
Yeah. So it was on the page, but if you knew, I don't know if you've met Jared, but he is like a master. Like all the characters he'll do himself, and he's this really animated guy. And he's just like, the second he did the voice, he's just like, well, I picture him as this guy who's just like, listen up, flippin' idiot. I don't want to do it. And everything was a little bit more lippy and a little bit more exaggerated, but it's still, I was like, yes. That's me and my younger brothers.
Yeah.
Like whenever they're pissed, whenever they're annoyed, that's them.
That's it.
So I was just like, that's it. That's a boom. Everything this guy is just this constantly crapped on younger brother type who's just like,
Yeah.
just,
He's that through chapped lips.
yes. Mouth breathing.
Yeah.
Kind of crusty kid who thinks
Closing eyes because
dragons
the reality is too much.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. And well, the eye was kind of a weird mix of just me and I squint a lot. And also it's just like, we're shooting in the sun and everything's, and it's like you blocking out the world. He's just like,
It's too much. It's just
sorry, I'm doing it now, but it's just like, it was natural for me, but it like made sense for the character. It was
Yeah.
so easy.
yeah.
And
You leaned
so
in-
we just,
yes.
yeah. And Jared and I will say we went to the DI. I don't know if you like, but in Provo, like the Deseret Industries, that's their Goodwill. You know, it's just where you can go get secondhand clothing, everything. So we went to the local DI and we just started going through clothes. And we just started like, oh, he'd wear this kind of shirt. This has got a sweet ninja or a sweet dragon on it, or these acid wash jeans. And then simply it was like, he mentioned the moon boots. I was like, sweet. I remember having those. And then his wife was like, and this is the best part. This is like a day or so later after I said, yes, I'm going to do this short, which was a 2-day shoot in Preston. It was like no big deal.
Yeah.
But before that, she's like, called me up and because they worked together and did everything. So Jerusha, his wife, she was like, John, what do you think about a perm? I was like, and I was single and I was like, okay, I'm post mission. I want to like start dating. I'm not good at dating. I don't know how to, but I like girls and I want to get with them. And I don't think a perm's going to help me. But all this thought process, it's going to be harder. Everything I just told you was a millisecond where I thought that. And then within the same millisecond, I was like, dude, who am I kidding? You're never going to see another student here who's not even officially an actor. I'm not a paid or a professional actor, but you're not going to see another student make that kind of commitment for a student film. And I saw what level Jared was on, and he's going to give it his all. I was like, we are going to kill it. Like, of course, yes. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's get a perm. So I got my friend who was a hairstylist, and she gave me the best perm
Of your life.
that I have ever had, but it was tight. It was amazing. I still tell people the perm in the short is years better than the one in the film.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's so good. Because by the time we shot the film, we had someone else do it. They did it wrong, so we had to re-perm, which fried my hair. It was just a mess.
So what happened between the short and it becoming a feature? I mean,
So we did the
where does
short,
that go?
and it was awesome, and we got it in like Slam Dance, which is like Sundance adjacent in the same place, but it's the smaller version.
Yeah.
And that was like, that might have gotten into a few other film festivals, but the point is like,
This
we
was the
loved
short
it.
got into
This is a short.
Yeah.
And we loved it. And to me, it was perfection. And people were digging it, like the local kind of indie, the film scene at BYU, like people got it. They loved it. But, I didn't know how far that was going to go. And it was like maybe, I don't know, maybe a few months later that Jared calls me up. He's like, dude, what do you think about doing a feature next? It was like the following summer. So we shot this in like fall of 2001. And then 2003 is when we shot the summer of 2003. So it was like, you had about a year and a half. Like, I want to shoot a feature of this. What do you think? I was like, yeah, of course I'm game. Like, why would I say no to that?
Yeah.
And originally, what a lot of people don't know is like, he wanted it to be just the same kind of vibe, but different characters. He knew he wanted to call it Napoleon Dynamite because the black and white, the short one, my name is Seth. And he just knew he wanted his first feature.
I don't
to be
see
called,
Seth Dynamite making 44 million in the theaters or whatever it is.
Yeah. And
that's a big mistake.
Seth Dynamite.
Seth isn't working.
No, Seth Svedin was his name.
Okay, I like it again.
I like that. It was rad. And I was like, I think Svedin made it into the film, I think.
Okay.
But he originally talked to me, he was like, what if we like shaved your head and gave you braces? And he was thinking of another crusty kid from Preston, Idaho, but wasn't the same. But then we did and then that's right. He had talked to me before the short really came out. Then after the short, and he saw how well it worked. And it was kind of a test. A lot of directors will do that. He's like, no, we're keeping that character.
Yeah.
It works so well.
Don't fuck with Seth.
Yes. And then we call him Napoleon Dynamite, new name. And then we're just going to bring in.
Where'd that come from?
So he, on his mission.
Get out.
Yeah. He was on the streets in Chicago, came across this guy. They start talking about like, hey, I'm Elder Hess. He's like, oh, Elder Hess. So he starts talking about like, well, it's a title. We go by this. And he's explaining the name. So what's your name? And he goes like, that's interesting. You're talking about like interesting names. Well, mine is Napoleon Dynamite.
Shut up.
And he was this like
You
weird.
shut the fuck up when you're talking to me.
He was this weird Italian guy. But get this. I don't know if this was it's even crazier. We found out later that Napoleon Dynamite is like a pen name that Elvis Costello used on one of his albums.
What?
Back in like, I think it was like the 70s or 80s. So I think this guy was a big fan of Elvis
Costello, yeah.
or knew someone who was a big fan. It could have been,
Yes.
hand-me-down through generations. This name, Jared had no idea of that connection.
Wow.
He just like, that is the sweetest name I've ever heard. I'm writing it down because he knew he was going to be a filmmaker. He was like, I'm going to make my first film called Napoleon Dynamite.
Wow.
And then we're
And
like,
then
well,
that
we
guy
never
walks
heard
away
from.
and he turns into a deer and runs off.
And you're like, it's Kane.
But he's still pooping human poops, and you're like, the transformation. There's some problems with the
could you
butt.
just give us deer poop instead of human turds?
I would much rather poop little
It's such
Skittles.
yeah.
Little poop Skittles.
Yeah, they're easy to clean up.
And you don't even have to stop. You ever see a deer? They just keep going.
They just walk and
there's no wipe.
breadcrumb trail.
No wipe. It's like leaving a terrible breadcrumb trail for your friends.
Terrible. Not as fun.
It's not as fun.
But still,
But less
easier
chance of
than
you to eat it and not find your way
human
home.
turd trail where it's just like
My human turds couldn't get you from here to the kitchen.
just one spot.
It's more like it's.
Oh, he did make an X out of his turds.
You do.
What is under here?
You mark a treasure with a human turd. You make a trail with a deer turd.
Yes, the trail leads the human turd.
Different turds
treasure.
for different needs. And if you make a
Yes.
typo at a typewriter, bird turd.
And if you need to loosen the dirt, you just urinate on it.
And if you fart and it smells like that, it's called a dweef. This riff has opened a portal.
A portal from which no one returns.
We just keep riffing. Katie just has to leave.
She's like, gross. I'm smelling it.
I smell it.
Oh, I smell the urine.
I smell your dweef. Okay, that
yeah.
story is incredible.
And then, we shoot the movie in 2003.
Not a lot of bread, right? You
No, not like. But I was
was
just
for the
like,
fun of it.
It was for the fun of it. It was like I was happy to. It was $1,000.
American?
I was like, yes, luckily. And I was like, sweet, yeah, that's fine. I was
any
like,
back end?
No, not real. No, I was in SAG.
Oh,
I was
wow.
not with anything.
Yeah.
And the producers were kind enough after this
Yes.
film sold at Sundance, they like, John, we're going to throw you a couple points.
They did. Okay.
Yeah.
So they made good. That's a unlikely
Yeah, well,
Hollywood
you know,
Nights story.
well, you know, we're LDS.
I was going to
okay?
say.
We do that.
You know,
We
that bodes well for the LDS
Yes.
right there.
Well, and these guys were friends.
Yeah.
These guys are Jeremy Kuhn, who was a producer on it. His brother financed the whole thing, so his brother is very happy. And yeah, we
imagine.
made it. Yeah.
That's a lot of X on your money.
Yeah.
You made what? You were saying, and we made?
No, so we made the film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like that brings us up to
We're coming up. Well, there's quite a bit.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
quite
yeah.
a
Let's
bit
cover.
between
Let's cover.
Let me ask you this: was there a lot of LOLing on the set? Because it seems like one of the hardest movies to shoot without laughing. I'm also going to preface that by saying that Valerie, my wife, who you did not meet,
I met Val.
you met briefly. Yes, she was on her way out though, so it was sort of right. we I'm sure you get this every day of your life, but the one that we say every day is placed explosives.
Like you accidentally, or that's a quote?
No, we say it.
quote.
Or
Okay.
if we do that, when you're thinking ahead to what you're going to say, and you're
Yeah.
going to say expedite, and you blend it into the word before. But when that was in that movie, it was the first time I had seen it, like, clearly in the script. It's such a funny moment.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh, you just fucked up.
That was, you know
Valerie!
what's so funny,
Valerie!
as I literally told that story today, someone asked me about it, which is so rare, but.
What?
So the script, I'll tell you this, the genius.
Are you seeing other podcasts?
Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, you did Rosenbaum's
Yes,
today.
yes. That was yesterday.
Yes, okay, good.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was after that we talked about it. Anyways, I'm giving you a second to cut that out because I don't want to mention Michael.
I don't want to give him any juice.
No. Any juice.
I can see your garment, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you get so used
Is that
to
Under Armour?
tucking it back in.
Is that your Under Armour garment?
Under Armour
Under
garment.
Armour garment?
Armament.
Undergarment.
Garment. Under Armour garments.
Undergarment. Under Armour garment.
Undergarments.
Are you wearing your Mormon undergarment?
Undergarment?
Under Armour garment?
You will still get a like, oh yeah, here you go. Check it out. Here's the eternal smile.
What is that?
Sometimes they like the scoop neck, call it the eternal smile.
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
they're crew cut.
Yeah.
Sometimes no.
Well, if it's a V, you're like, here's
Sometimes there's
the...
a straight reverse hoodie. No. Could you imagine like people walk, I can't breathe in this. What were they doing?
I just saw a kid wearing the hoodie like that, the reverse hoodie.
Yeah.
And I was like, this kid's figured it out.
Yeah.
They figured out life.
Yeah.
Your parents will tell you where to go. You don't need to see shit, which is great. Okay, so...
Yeah. So Napoleon,
Explain.
He wrote every line of dialogue. People ask a lot, how much did we improv? There was no improv. It was like every line was scripture. Like we was just like,
Wow.
this is perfect. This is the kind of the cadence. You don't want to start riffing. It just wouldn't match the vibe and
It's
the
almost like a
rhythm
piece
the
of
film.
music. There's
It
like
was. It was just like you want to nail every single thing. But then when we shot that scene, it really was like, I think Jared was like, okay, I want you to have a current event about Lake Loch, Nessie. And I think it was a loose script. It was there, but it was more like the flub was not in there. And it was just like, you say a little bit of this, but it was the only time Jared was like, just make up some stuff. Just keep going because I'm going to have one of the kids interrupt you with a laugh or like, yeah right. I'm going to kill that kid. That kind of vibe. So, yeah, that's just, I think I flubbed it.
Placed explosive.
Place explosive detonators at the bottom of Lake Loch Ness to blow Nessie out of the water. So Court Godfrey of the Nessie Alliance summon the help of Scotland's local wizards to cast a protective spell over the lake and its residents and all those who seek for the peaceful existence of our underwater ally. And all the last half of that I just made up and just but the flub, the second I flubbed, I was like, oh, we're keeping. I know he's going to keep
because
that.
Napoleon has to be frustrated.
Yeah.
Because he has it perfect, but he messes up.
It's just,
I love to. It's an interesting thing. How do you enjoy? I mean, you're delighting me. It's so fun. It's like being a magician or something.
Yeah.
You can do that and bring instant joy to people. And I was very curious to see what your attitude is towards people wanting a little taste of the sweet.
Well, it is like through, I went through in the beginning. It was crazy. I think, as you can imagine, it was just like going from 0 to 60, and everybody was like so into it, and dealing with fame and dealing with like, whoa, okay, this is new, but I still looking back, and I will always remember, it's like, this is a good thing. Like, people loved it.
Right.
And
I've
famous
heard that
for
Tom Cruise will say, "Show me the money" to people, just to give you a parallel. Like, I'm always fascinated by this.
Without being prompted.
I think like if they're like, "Hey, show me the money," he'll say it back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's awesome.
That's a real showman.
Yeah.
But am I hearing you right? Maybe there was a time where you were like, I don't want that.
I was always like Mr. And this is why it's kind of like, we haven't really gotten into it, and maybe we won't. But and this may be a total segue. I recently watched all of Crashing, and I
you did?
love it. Yeah, I love it.
That's great.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
And I did, because I just worked with Jamie, and I was kind of like, oh, what has she done? And then I know of your stuff, but I was like, I'd always heard of Crashing. But I was like, I watched it all, and I was like, and that's what was great about this, because it's like, this is great. I relate to so much of this. So much like business stuff. I'm not a stand-up comedian, but like, oh my gosh, there's so much. And I honestly, and this is recently we shot this, I watched it, and I was like, I never do this. I was like, I'm gonna DM Pete. I just feel like I got to. Yeah.
Did you?
I didn't, because that's also like, but I was like, no, I'm going to. I was just lazy, but I don't DM anyone.
The whole time I was like, oh man, I'm not really on there, and I didn't see it. I was getting an apology ready.
No, I was just like, no, I was like, I should. And then Michael reached out, and then I was just like, this is like,
oh, you watched it before you knew we were going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this
and
is
also
just
because you just did a movie with Jamie Lee.
That's why. And so I had heard it, and I was like, I was curious about it, and then Jamie, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And I was hooked.
Yeah.
I loved
it. Thanks,
but
man.
I'm telling you, it was like, I watched it, and I was like, this is like there's so many parallels.
The parallels.
So many.
You'd be shocked at how many people related to, especially that my character was religious and was trying to break into this.
There was the
world.
religious aspect.
Yeah.
There was the lust for like the happy guy, because I was like,
yeah.
you're so sweet and kind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not a brag. It's just like, I've always been very positive and very like, hey, and it's just like, and there's an innocence there,
and trying to hold on to it.
Yes.
I think people are very interested in that. Yeah.
I think, there was like also dealing with the fame. I was just like, okay, I love that people, and it would have been so hard if I didn't like Napoleon, the movie and the product. And I love it. And
you could be the guy from The Room, Tommy Wiseau or whatever, who has to deal with people coming up who maybe think it's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everybody, it really does seem to be like everybody loves Napoleon Dynamite. Like, what's
you
wrong
hope,
with you?
and the good thing is, if they don't like it, they're not going to approach me. But you still, I think everybody, I'm sure you've had fans who's just like, I don't think you're that. I don't know. Maybe they don't.
Right.
But I will get honest people, as long as they're in company with someone else who likes it.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's not for me.
Interesting.
And then I tell them, like, no, just go watch it again. Go watch it 2 more times.
Hilarious.
Because I've learned that weird algorithm. People will
it's
tell
like
me.
Anchorman in that way. The first time I watched Anchorman, I was like, pass.
That was my.
The second time I watched it, I was like, oh my god.
Big Lebowski for me.
Yeah,
it was the first
I
time.
Still
I
haven't found a deep appreciation for Big Lebowski.
How many times have you seen it?
I've given it a few tries for some.
Oh man,
I don't. I'm going to tell you why. I don't tend to like characters that are stoned and just can't get it together.
I get
you know
that.
What I mean?
Like, I don't watch a lot of stoner comedies, but
smoking pot.
Then none of this.
He has the same name as you. No one has to lose a toe because you're like, oh, well, honestly, man, it's like fucking get it together.
It was
like
so
I don't like
beautiful
Pineapple
in the
Express for the same.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not.
I'm wrong. But
About
Napoleon
that one.
Dynamite,
Yeah.
I think I liked it. I remember seeing the trailer for Napoleon, and it got these weird laughs I've never heard before. Because I think it was you going
From
over
you?
the ramp. No,
You're
me.
like, what? What does that mean?
Then I turned
Sorry,
into a deer.
guys.
No, I just remember the audience in Boston having no idea what to do with it. It had that the organ and you're just trying to go over a ramp.
Yeah.
I think it was just a locked off shot of that.
Yeah.
It was just like Napoleon Dynamite. And we're all just like, what the fuck? It's Boston. We're like,
Nobody.
What was that? What the fuck was that? Napoleon what? You mean Elvis Costello's pen name? His nom de plume. Dad, you're yelling. But I remember even being like, I have to see that just based on the trailer. Anyway, so we're going to Jamie and go on.
Yeah, and so I just went through this period where I was always cool on the surface, but there was starting to become a little bit of like with the, not so much with the family, but kind of moments of like, why can't people? I started to see with fans, people not acting like I think people should act. Like, you know what?
Give me
why
one.
why do they have to like? I think it's because I never was starstruck. I never grew up around that. But I was always like, no, you respect people and you act cool around them. And when people are like kind of, fans are fans. There's the great ones, and there's some who just do asinine things. Would
people shove you?
No, but be
like,
shovey about like,
okay.
Oh, you got to do this, or hey,
record my voicemail.
Yeah, or whatever it is. It just seems like there's being cool, and then there's, you're not really being cool.
But it was a phenomenon, and you had to deal with a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, there was a time when it wasn't that groovy to have people yell Napoleon Dynamite.
I always enjoyed an element of it, but it was just having to seeing a side of people that I wish I could educate everybody. Like don't approach me that way. Don't come up. Or it was like
how would they? Give me a taste.
If someone was taking video of me while I'm at a restaurant eating, I was like, that's so rude. And I think that's part of the core of like my principled personality of like, people should not act this way. People should not be this way. And I wish I could educate everyone. And like,
because it's not malicious. It's just ill-informed.
It's just ill-informed. And they're not thinking about like
you as a person.
Yeah. And it was also like, I go to a party and I have a great conversation with someone, and they were like, and they maybe be a friend or a sibling to a friend of mine. And we're at a party. We're having this great conversation. At the end of the party, then my friend comes and is like, hey, sorry, I know you're leaving, but can so-and-so get a picture with you? And then I was always like, I tried to analyze every single interaction. I was like, dude, we just had a really great one-on-one conversation. Why do they have to turn it and make it now? I felt like it was almost hero worshiping. And it was a weird, humble way of approaching it, but also like, I was like, don't put me on a pedestal. And maybe it felt like almost...
you were trying to keep it...
I almost felt like they were putting me on a pedestal.
You want to keep it close to the earth. You were just having a nice conversation.
But I also felt like prideful about like feeling like I was being put on a pedestal. So like, no, they're not seeing it that way. So it was a lot of torn kind of feelings, but I was letting it get to me. But it wasn't ruining my life. It wasn't like taking me to a dark place for the most part. I was very happy to accommodate and to humor people, whatever.
But you can't go to Disney World. I mean, it would be hard for you to go to Disney World.
And that was a good example of like, sometimes I'd be like, and especially in the early years when I started having young kids, and I'd be in the middle of like, come on, like, oh crap, they just pooped their diaper and I gotta go, they messed, and then people come up, or I remember being on a plane once and just, I was really sick, and I was like, and so we were getting off the plane.
Patient zero for COVID, right?
What?
You're patient zero for COVID.
This was like 10 years before.
Okay.
But I think it was the beginning.
That was not me.
It was monkey flu, whatever they call it. And I was getting off the plane, and I knew I visibly looked like death.
Ill. Yeah.
And this couple comes up as I'm exiting, the plane. They're like, oh my gosh, like, hey, so like, can we get a picture of you? It was the first time I ever actually said, because I was always very nice and like tried to be, but I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick, and I can't take a picture right now. I'm so sorry. And just out of the nicest, I was like, I mean, if you have like a pen or paper, I could do an autograph. Like, oh no, we don't. It's fine. Like, so sorry.
Yes.
Feel better.
Yes.
Cut to 3 minutes later. I'm waiting for my wife because she was in a different seat. And so I was still waiting there. The couple comes back with a paper and pencil, and they're like, can we get that? I was almost like, I was being like kind of nice. Like, I'm feeling like crap. I don't want to deal with anyone.
Yes, I wanted to end all of this.
So it was just examples like that that would just happen every now and then.
Yeah.
And
Could you sweat on this?
Yeah. But then, I don't know, it felt like it was like 10 years ago. Suddenly, I don't know what it was. It was, honestly, it was a click of just me mentally flipping a switch. You're like, I'm not going to let it bother me anymore. It's
Yeah.
stupid. I mean, there will always be, idiotic fans or doing things that they don't realize. I don't care anymore. I know what everybody says. If you can bring joy to these people.
Well, that's what I was just experiencing is what made me, like, I was shocked. And I'm not like an obsessive, I probably have seen it, a good 10 times. But yeah, I know
great.
you know people that have seen it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But like, it instantly brought me joy, like my daughter if she sees balloon animals or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So there is something nice to see
and
that
there's
you.
that endorphin
But I also
release.
like the boundary that you have. It can be both. You can have a boundary and a time and a place for things.
Yeah.
But also it's really fun to see you just.
But
be
I'm
like,
trying to like turn off like that. I'm not going to try to educate people anymore. I'm not going to try to lecture them on or even in my mind lecture like, oh, this is what I should have said.
Yeah.
I'm just like, look, some people are like weird. Either I avoid situations, but for the most part, I love it because I do see that. I see that joy and I see that immediate gratification of like, they love it.
I mean, if
and
you
I
could feel how I felt, I think. I mean, you're already there. But I'm like, this isn't fake. It's like I'm really having a great time when you did your Nessie speech, and I was just like, it ties it to a nostalgia and all these. It made me feel like I was a kid again.
Yeah.
Like it was really great.
It's like we say a magic trick because, they're the people we working in the industry. You've met a lot of people you've probably geeked out about.
Yeah.
And it is the same thing. You're like, especially when it's someone, and I'm speaking on this behalf where it was a quotable movie and it brought people back to a certain time. And when if I see Patrick Stewart, and if he goes, engage.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Of course. And I hope
it's
he does every once in a while.
Like, please. And, you kind of have that, but you're like, I'd rather have just a nice conversation with someone that I respect. But
Well, how great would it be if you're a Trekkie, you
Trekker.
get a Trekker.
That's what
Pardon
me and my
me.
brothers called ourselves. We were Trekkers.
Not Trekkies?
Yeah, because we didn't want to be lumped in with the Trekkies.
I understand.
Trekkers were cool Trekkies.
All right, so if you're a Trekker and you're at a Star Trek convention.
Dweef.
And you dweef. And you arrange it so that you propose to your girlfriend, and then as soon as you put the ring on, you turn and Patrick Stewart is there dressed as Jean-Luc Picard, and he goes, engaged.
That is, oh my gosh.
I mean, that would be the
If I could
greatest one of all
set that
time.
up. She's like,
And then he gets beamed up,
and then he gets beamed up.
which would be incredible.
But then the cable snaps. He was like, I'm sorry, it's not supposed to work this way. Number one.
This
number
didn't
one.
happen in rehearsal. 2 questions. One, what did you think about the Kanye lyric? I mean, when Kanye did a Napoleon Dynamite.
I mean,
Cool, right?
yeah, I guess, I
I
didn't really,
load you. Pretty cool, huh?
yeah, people ask me that, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, like, I didn't listen. I've only heard the song once.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not
Can't
like,
tell me nothing?
I can't, I would, like, they're just like, hey, they're using it. I was like, all right, I guess that gives me points with the young crowd, even though I was still young at the time. I was just like, all right.
I
whatever.
mean, if Kanye said what you know about green eggs and ham, I'd be pretty excited, but I understand there's not much to say about it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we are in the last moments here of the show. It's been wonderful. This has been a day off for me. I say that when I get to just listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had to work.
Oh, good.
So thank you. What does it mean to you? How are you finding a faith and show business balance? And I'm not asking that from a pious place. I'm just curious. You don't live in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You've done amazing things.
Yeah.
None of us are Dan Rad, but I mean, like you've had Blades of Glory, all of these amazing films, and voiceover and directing. But how are you balancing it with something that isn't really like an LDS movie star? When I first heard tell of you, was sort of like talking about like a Jewish unicorn or something. Like it was just like,
As
did you
opposed
hear
to
there's a Jewish unicorn?
the regular Christian unicorn.
Yeah, all unicorns, for the most part, are regular Christian.
They're Christian. That's Christian mythology. If you look it up, in Deuteronomy,
Jesus rode out of Gethsemane.
Revelations, there's all kinds
There's
of
a
crazy stuff
lot of
in there.
unicorns in Revelation.
A lot of
Tell me.
Well, it was.
And I'm not asking that from like a judgy place.
No,
Just
no,
because
no,
people
no.
ask me that.
Yeah.
They go, you're a person of faith. How do you blend it? I'm more interested in you finding a balance of being a spiritual person that feels a connection to your creator and a business that's like, look at Jon Heder. He has a pack of gum. Give him 50 grand to say he likes that gum. Like, that's not great for you.
As long as it's double bubble.
That specialness, that showiness of show business isn't necessarily, I'm saying, always great when you're trying to feel at one with the world and,
Exactly.
and see everyone as your brother. When you're in gifting suites at Sundance, you can feel that you're like, oh, this is why in the desert, the devil tempts Jesus with money,
Yes.
power,
Yes.
fame.
Yeah.
These are the things you and I have embraced. So like, what do we do? That's not a judgment.
No. I think I was equipped early on to have like a sense of humor about my faith.
Excellent.
And when I say sense of humor, I think like a place where I could like objectively kind of stand outside. I've always tried to do that in my personal life for, empathizing and sympathizing with anybody, any culture, whatever. It's like I always tell when I go do youth talks or whatever, I feel like the secret to life and possibly happiness is perspective. If you could just walk in the shoes of another person, if you could just stand outside of yourself and because it's the secret to, eradicating pride and and getting into a place of humility. So having
solidarity and compassion and empathy, that's
and
beautiful,
having
yes.
that ability to, and I'm not perfect. I'm saying like, I will plenty of times step outside of my own shoes. Do I always get the perfect view or do I get fully educated? No. And I'm always trying to do that. But when it comes to, the faith in Hollywood, going into Hollywood, I always made that joke like, oh, Hollywood is the den of Satan. And it is where, dreams are made, but it's also where, deals are made as well. But not really obviously believing that. I wanted to come in and make a difference, but also the difference was like prove to myself, like, I want to do this. I want to make movies and I want to push the boundaries a little bit. They always say, stay away from, in youth, growing up as an LDS youth, it's kind of like that idea of, don't get too close to the edge of the cliff, like know where the boundaries are. Don't put yourself in situations. And I was like, I think I didn't, hopefully I didn't make the mistake or, the choices what you see other people make are like, no, I can handle that close. And then, they fall to temptation or they fall, whatever it is. But I felt like I want to be in that world, but I also want to just simply, it's not just one. This is what I believe. I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to do my best to make it work. But I had no guidebooks. I mean, there's not like a community.
You're in uncharted territory.
Yes, very much. And so it was like, all right, I got to just follow the spirit.
And the story, though, would by rights should have been Jon Heder, sort of like Crashing. It's like not that my character lost his faith, but he had to redefine it.
Yeah.
He started meeting people that he loved that he used to would have thought were going to hell, but he saw the God in them.
Yes.
He saw the love in them and the beauty in them.
That spoke to me.
Of course, I know. I knew you're that kind of person, I can tell. But the story should have, most people would have predicted it would be as soon as you made money.
Yeah.
And as soon as you were surrounded by people who weren't in the church, that you would, marry an actress, get a mansion, probably start doing drugs. You know what I mean? And we see this.
Off of whose backs?
Yeah.
What did you have in that story?
I saw you doing it off of a duck, actually.
Oh, a duck's back?
Nothing like duck cocaine.
Decane.
That's what makes me so daffy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I played out all those scenarios, but it was always like, I'm not interested in that. I knew from an early age I wanted to have a family. This is what I believe. I want to live this way. And, I don't want people to think or myself to believe I got to get out of LA because we, as you said, we just moved and it wasn't so I need to get away from Hollywood. It was more like I got to get away from the heat. this is literally, it's too hot.
Oh,
here.
is that right?
Oh, it was a big decision.
I said to Katie before you got here, I was like, I bet he has a cool, weird reason for leaving LA. And
no.
It is hot here.
It is hot as
and
hell.
There's traffic. I thought it was corrupting your soul.
No, it wasn't. It was really I'm a very visual. I grew up in Oregon and I love the Pacific Northwest. I was like, I just want to raise my family in a place where, I don't know, I always had an image and part of that has come true. And it really was I just want to be I don't know, a Pacific Northwest dad.
Yeah, no, I can see
and
that
kind
for
of
you.
doing art and doing acting on the sides and going, but I want to be able to see trees.
Yeah,
It really was more of a physical thing, but and I was very sad because I left some people behind. My brother who lives here, and obviously a lot of friends.
Which means a lot of people think you live here.
Yeah. They're like,
Although I saw a
great."
photo of your brother, different vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
Subtitles, fatter? Yeah. No, he's great. He's
Different
slimmed down. He's
vibe.
slimmed down.
Let's say
Slimmed down.
beefy.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I actually thought I saw a photo of you guys and I was like, these have different. I meant it as a twin compliment.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
No,
to
if
Randy
you
and
met
Jason.
him, our kids stare at us every time we're together because they love
course.
seeing this weird mirror. Because even if he looks a little different, the vibe is pretty much the same.
Has he ever
we
gone
started
as
talking-
Napoleon for Halloween? I mean, that's
No, he
right
would
there.
never sink to that. He would never sink to the level.
He would
of
never
like,
let you have
I'm going
that.
to be my brother standing, and like
Hilarious.
I'll punch you in the face.
Is he
before you.
slightly older?
I mean, he's like 3 minutes older.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I could feel that.
So
What do you? Sorry.
no, just like going back to the balancing and like
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I covered that, but
I think you did.
yeah. Sorry.
No, sorry. This is your time, baby. I haven't had an LDS guest though, so I'd love to ask what I asked this to everybody. What do you think happens when we die?
Wow. Let me get into discussion 6 in our series.
Do you vie for collab? Isn't collab a thing?
That is like deep stuff that I think like
That's not, like,
what they.
mainstream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not mainstream. I couldn't even give you all the answers to that. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm not saying it's ignorance, but it's not what's important.
No, I understand. I said it half kidding.
No, but it's like, yeah, no, I definitely believe in the afterlife. It's still not quite certain to me. Like we talk about like not spiritual prison, but like the spiritual, like whether they're waiting. And we are given all the answers. Like while we wait, I do believe in the second coming. I do believe that we will be judged and we will, and that we are saved, but based on, that everyone will be saved, that we will be resurrected. I believe in.
I believe it's an axe. There's something that all are resurrected.
Yeah, we will. I believe we will all be resurrected.
But there's a hierarchy, right? My father's mansion has many rooms, sort of thing.
Yeah, and a little bit of that, but I think it really will be like even the lowest level is if you saw it, you would kill yourself right now to get there. It's that much better than Earth now.
I see.
Kind of
and
thing.
so those are the
it's
sons of
heaven.
perdition is like the lowest, right?
The lowest is kind of what we talk about, outer darkness. Like, sure, I guess you could call that hell. But when I mean, it's like, we're talking, you got to be really evil.
Yeah.
Like you're evil incarnate. I don't believe, it's hard for me. I've always struggled with thinking people are evil. They are terrible, evil acts.
Right.
That you do. And
Well, the conversation of ethics and accountability and
yeah.
culture and like you're part of a thing and you're just responding to all this impetus and the way we work. It's another conversation. I'm not going to charge you with explaining evil. But I had another LDS person explain it to me that they were like, even a non-Mormon, someone who never was baptized in the church, would still be in a heaven. They would just be in like a lower heaven.
Even if that,
Yeah.
I believe that everyone will know the truth. Whatever that truth is, everyone will have that chance to accept it or not, even though I'd feel like if truth is
if
staring
it's
you
right
in the
there,
face.
And you're dead and
and-
you're like, but I'm back. I think I'll
Yeah.
accept this now.
Like, I don't think anybody will suffer. Anybody will unless you are like truly have decided to be,
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know. It's hard.
What about-
it's shrouded in mystery, but I believe that there's afterlife and that we will, as they say, we can be with our families forever. And,
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
It's beautiful, yeah.
I can't wait. Let's do it now together.
Yeah,
right
all
now.
right.
Let's end
Let's
it.
go!
Give me a sharp.
Finally, a viral video.
That's real. That's fake. That's just doctored, man. That's an After Effects chapter. I know.
I'm not a Latter-day Saint, obviously, but I do have
But you
beliefs
look
that are,
it, man.
I certainly
You look
do.
it.
My joke in Utah is I go, they let me in the temple, and everybody laughs.
I laughed.
Yeah, I know. See, I have a whole 10 minutes I do in Utah. But hilarities, good club. Anyway, what I'm trying to preface it by being like, I have some pretty interesting ideas on whether your inherent divinity, for example.
Yeah.
I believe in Katie's inherent divinity. I believe in everybody's. I always say like we're drops of water, and a way of thinking of it is God is the ocean.
Yeah.
But God is the animating principle behind all things, because God is a metaphor for being itself. That's what I would say. So we are made of that being.
Yeah.
The I am that Moses encountered. So I say that, I give you sort of like a far out idea, in quotes, far out. Where are you on the as we are God once was, as God is we will be? Is that a Mormon idea, or is that just some people? Yeah.
I think the idea that God exists and that he has a body and he has an image and for all, and I believe strongly, like, you know, our entire life, and when I say that, like me, LDS, in our community, you know, you're taught these things, but I truly believe there's going to be so many things, whether it's after the second coming or after we died, that are going to be revealed that, like, oh, that's what, not that we had it wrong, but there's just so much more
Mystery
to be revealed. And so however that's interpreted, I do believe we are created in God's image, and therefore, and part of this, you probably heard of like the plan of salvation and this plan that he has for us, that he has a plan for us. And part of the biggest thing is to get back into his presence, to go live with him again and to become like him, meaning to learn what it's, and then that's the whole inherent like divinity of families and learning to be parents and learning to create ourselves while on this plane and in the next life.
Is sort
continue
of to do
creating,
what God,
to
like
do,
having
and
children is sort of like a little taste of what it's like.
Absolutely.
To be a God. Creating is a little taste of what it's like to be a God. And these things are available to everybody.
Yeah.
Not just having kids, but creating and engaging and making something new out of that wasn't.
Yeah, and working our way to be like him.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think and I'm not trying to drudge up differences. I think our difference is that I'm like, I think that's sort of available now.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you do too. Maybe it just comes into a different manifestation in after the second coming, as you say, or after you pass and you go into the afterlife. But I think, what I'm saying is I think God is here now, looking out our eyes, sort of thing. Like, I actually tried to find where it is in the Bible. I think it's in like the Gospel of Thomas, so it's not in the canonic Gospels. But, whoa, big word, here we go. But people say it all the time, the kingdom of heaven is within you. I'm pretty sure that is the Gospel of Thomas. We won't say, look here, look there, here it comes. It's already here and men do not see it. So I have a feeling of like, when we die, it's not another, well, buddy, let me actually say I have no idea.
I know.
As I started thinking about that, I was like, I don't know the difference between us. You have these different images and stuff.
You have these different images, but it really feels like in the last couple years, it's not that I'm questioning those images. It's more like expanding upon like the idea that I'm not getting more informed, but I'm expanding my process of believing that I think it will still come out looking different than what
I hear that.
Can imagine. I can't even comprehend. If I even try to, for a second, I mean, when you try to comprehend eternity, you know, we go cross-eyed.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the same for so many things.
Well, one of my favorite eternity things is eternity doesn't mean never-ending time. It means no time.
Yeah.
So I was just watching something Rupert Spira was saying about this. It's like human beings are like refractions of light. So God is the light, and he reflects himself like through a prism into something that's called a human being. And the way that eternity looks to that refraction of the eternal, the way that eternity looks to that refraction is time. Like, that's how you perceive, but eternity's always here.
Yeah.
The way we're just perceiving it through these things.
Yes, yeah.
So it becomes constrained in the same way we are constrained. Yeah. And when we die, I know
I've gone cross it. No.
I know it gets nuts. That's really where the way we talk about these things differ. Is when I start thinking about death or heaven or the afterlife, I see that as the removal of all duality, meaning it's all one or it's all zero, meaning I drop the language of like, and there's God and his body, and here's me and my body. It seems more like a smearing of everything into, as U2 says, all the colors bleed into one sort of thing. That's just my symbol system. That's my metaphor that I use. But as we're sitting here, I'm like, neither of these are either more woo-woo or wacky.
Yeah, I mean, it could.
Have you ever done psychedelics?
No.
That would be interesting.
Never. That'll be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Oh, that was like,
I don't know if you would.
Like, that will be interesting after he leaves that liquid death.
Yeah, I hope
forgot
you
to tell
enjoy.
him what's in there.
There's some liquid something else in there. It's a liquid LD.
Life
LSD.
after death. This is what it's. Oh, I can fly.
Those substances can give you a taste of that unit of consciousness.
You hear about all kinds of stuff that I'm just like, you know what? I'll wait till the afterlife to conjure it on my own.
That's interesting is when people say they don't want to do them, I'm like, we all have that experience, whether or not it's before you pass or after you pass. But it's kind of like you were saying, the truth is revealed to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying LSD or whatever, or these substances always give you the truth. Sometimes it's just a fun corn concert. Hey, let me ask you the final questions and we'll get out of here. One, is there anything that you wished I had asked that you were waiting for me to ask?
No.
Okay, great. Two, what is the time in your life you've laughed the hardest, or one of them? And to broaden it and to give you some priming, maybe you were a kid, maybe you were with your brother, maybe somebody farted, maybe somebody fell down. Oh, man. Who were you with? Even if it's not a story, who did you do a lot of laughing with? Or who do you do a lot of laughing with?
Oh, man. When you laugh hard with buddies, obviously, maybe I'll bring it full circle just to keep the theme, because there's countless times I can remember laughing so hard. But I mean, I'll bring it back to the mission.
Yes.
And having those brother, like my favorite, I shouldn't say that in case any of them are listening, but one of my favorite companions.
Yeah.
My very last companion. He was
who you are, Jebson.
Elder Roberts from New Zealand, and we were really good friends. And I just love him. And just when we mess, you mess around. You're in a place where, when you're young, you can find those moments to laugh the hardest, because when you're on an adventure, when you're doing high octane things, I don't know how many life-threatening activities you've ever, experienced, but sometimes those are the times, because you're feeling almost that like abandonment of, this is not normal, and I'm out of my comfort zone. So it's only prefacing that because it felt like the whole mission, you're just kind of like, I'm a kid. I'm here living alone with another kid. What are we doing here? So you're always messing around. But I just remember one of the hardest I laughed was just, we were doing our nightly prayers together. We do a companionship prayer. And I had a sense of humor about all that kind of stuff. I had a reference for things that were reverent, but I like to mess around with it a little bit.
Yes.
And it was his turn. He was praying, and I just thought it'd be funny if we'd always kind of pray leaning down. And so while he was, his eyes are closed, he's praying, and I crawl as quiet as I can. And he's praying, and I get right up to his face.
I could tell that's what you're going to do.
Right up to his face, just like holding my breath so I don't give it away. And he's a bigger guy than me. And he says amen. And I
praying out loud.
So we're saying it together. He says amen. And the second he just peeked his eyes up, but before he even registered me, he registered someone was there. And I was mid amen, and he just goes, and just hit me so hard. I flew back onto my futon, because that's what we were sleeping on. I just flew. It felt like a body's forever. Just hit the thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
He went to fight, flight, freeze, and he chose fight.
Oh, he's just swacked me. And I didn't know. We had never been in that situation.
Whoa.
And I was sitting there laying down just in shock. And the second he did it, he didn't even register, are you okay? He was on the ground laughing so hard.
Oh my God.
And then I started laughing. But after the pain, subsided. But even through the pain, I knew I was fine. And it was a good hearty hearty laugh.
He smacked your name tag off.
Yeah. And there was a number of times. I just love it so
ahead.
much. Laughed.
That's why I like this question.
It was also on the mission, and it was he was from Australia. It's all from the down under countries. And we're riding our bikes. You do a lot of mess around on your bike. So we just mess with each other. And he was really good at riding bikes, and he was fast. And we were just riding along and on the streets of Tokyo, and just one of the things I wanted to mess with was that I go over to him, I was like, we're riding, and I get close, and I was like, dude, check this out. And my plan was to hawk a big loogie and shoot it right through the spokes of his front tire, just to it was stupid. It was not even funny. It was dumb. It was like, so what if it hits it? It's like, I was almost, maybe it'll spray everywhere, or I don't know. But I was like, check it out. And he was a little bit more, as I said before, the Majime type. He was very strict. And I found that with a lot of Australians. The Australian missionaries were very strict. And yet whenever he was around me and my brother, because my brother also worked with him in the training center, and he loved us because we could pull out that shelve that strict part of him and bring out a little bit of that smile and that humor that we knew was deep down.
Yes.
It was and it was so, and it was always fun. So I go, check this out. I just hawked the biggest loogie. But I don't know what I was thinking. It was like his hand was right in the way, and it just went all over it. His hand was on the thing. It just covered his hand.
Oh, no.
Covered his hand in this giant, slimy loogie.
Oh,
And the same thing, he was in shock. But it was more like he just kept looking, and I immediately almost crashed my bike because I was laughing so hard because I was thinking, this guy probably thought that's what I intended to do. He's like, hey, check this out. I'm going to spit all over you. Watch what I can do.
Hey,
and how dare I can get away with it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was just going to spit through your smokes. I'm so sorry. And his reaction was the best because he's just like, wow, that's cool, Heder. Good job. He didn't talk. He was just froze like, okay.
He didn't even wipe it off.
The less he talked, the more I laughed. I lost it.
Too fantastic.
Yes. Oh, gosh.
I'm so glad we got to talk so much about your mission. I was clearly so interested.
I did not expect that. I'll talk about it.
Little Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Dude, what about Will Ferrell? He ever crack you up?
Oh, he did. But he was just like, I always say he was the cool senior and I was kind of the nerdy freshman and but that he was like, come hang out with me. Yeah. I was the Corey Haim to his Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
From Lucas.
Yeah,
Get that?
sure.
Yeah. Felt like that. It's just he was so nice and kind.
Yeah.
And just easy to work with. And he would crack jokes, but he was also kind of, all right, we're doing our job. But he was also laid back enough that we would kind of laugh about guys on the crew and stuff.
Yeah,
but
very fun.
It was more. I was just like, what's
He's one of those people though. If he was just like, hello, I'd be like,
yeah. Oh my
just
gosh, it's just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Well, John, this was amazing. Oh, last question. Why don't you like being called Johnny?
I was joking about that. You can call me whatever you want, baby.
On the phone.
Petey? Do you ever go by Petey?
Oh, I love being called Petey.
Oh, I don't mind Johnny. Okay. I have one friend who will Johnny, and he's my best. So
okay, your favorite.
So it's reserved for him. You bastard! Don't ever call me Johnny. All right, you have yet to.
Let's go to the afterlife.
But I feel like we're gonna get there.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
Find out.
Rapture, here we come.
If you went up. That would be viral. And
you're right here. Just hold on to my ankle. We're allowed a +1.
Yeah, there you go. I got a family. I got a lot of people to bring.
Come on, hold on. No, forget him.
I think
Val can suck it.
This is interesting. You don't have to do it as Napoleon. I'm gonna let obviously off the hook. But everybody says keep it crispy at the end. That's how we end.
Yeah.
Would you say keep it crispy and then we're out?
Keep it crispy and crusty.
Did it. I said don't.
I thought you were almost suggesting to do it.
Well, of course I wanted you to.
Well, then I'll do it because we just had to talk. I want to bring you that.
But then I was like, you already did it.
I want to bring you that second of joy in a otherwise miserable life.
This one got what is it? This one got into a patch of turnips or something.
This one got caught in an onion patch. This one's perfectly fine. It's just milk. It's awesome. Very good. Well done. I'll give you my favorite line, though.
Go ahead.
The time machine.
Yes.
And he's like, hold on. I forgot to put in the crystals. And he's like, extreme close up of the crystals going into the little slot. I was like, oh my gosh. That kills me.
I forgot to put in the crystals. Thank you so much, John. This was a pleasure.
You, man. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Oh, okay. It's over.